Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to day 2 of the Paladins Summer Premiere here at Dreamhack Valencia. My name is Rain Day, and of course, we've got an exciting day of action for you yet again. It will be, of course, coming through another exciting opportunity to watch the semifinals for the Paladins PC tournament, and culminating the day, the Xbox Finals as well. It's obviously a day where we are going to witness both of these top-tier teams contending for the #1 spot on Sunday, where they'll face off each other against the finals. And of course, the Xbox winner, they'll face off in the Console Wars finals to actually play against Team Cryptik, who took the PS4 crown yesterday. Speaking of yesterday, the day was absolutely phenomenal. I think anybody who was watching went a little bit crazy. We had a best-of-5 series, a reverse sweep, and of course, QG Craze made the crowd go crazy and everyone watching at home. Let's see if we can continue the antics here at day number 2 in Dreamhack. And to start things off, let's send it over to our casters for the PC semifinals, Alan, I Hold Shift, Donofrio, and Vox Tempest.
Thank you so much, Evan. It is a pleasure to be back here again on day 2. Paladins Summer Premiere here at Dreamhack Valencia of 2017. Of course, Vox Shift back on the mics again. We're going to kick things off today with a very interesting set. We're seeing a bit of contention up here. It's rather right that we've got a European and North American here. It is Europe versus North America to start the day off in the semifinals.
We're about to fight. We're about to fight. This has been probably one of the most perennial matchups. The top from North America versus the top from EU. They've matched up before. North America has yet to break the EU nutshell. Might just happen today, though.
It's going to be tricky to see if that is going to be the case. Of course, there is this long-established, should we say at this point, tradition, it feels like, of Europe being in the finals, always beating out North America last instance. But, well, with District 69 falling yesterday to QG Craze, the European juggernaut seems a little bit less immortal than it has done previously.
Without a doubt, but of course, it's not just gameplay that we have for you, Vox. What else we got?
We've got a few different things going on today. Yeah, just a few small couple of things. Of course, all of you who are watching home at Twitch, we do have the drops enabled, but on your screen right now is the winner of the community skin contest. You cast your votes, your voices were heard. Demonic Ceres has been chosen and is available on screen right now, looking, well, rather dashing, rather demonic.
Rather demonic indeed.
Very red.
The big, like, Diablo-esque horns.
Oh, yeah.
Woo.
Fantastic.
Awesome. And all those were awesome designs, first and foremost, with that one, obviously.
Wish we could have
you guys
more.
felt was great. Yeah.
Wish we could have more. But on your screen right now, we do have the bracket from yesterday and today, of course, quarterfinals matchups with Gankstars, Team Cryptik, QG Craze, and Kanga Esports advancing. Our semifinals will be Gankstars versus Team Cryptik and QG Craze versus Kanga. That's going to be a spicy semifinal later on in the day. As we've said, though, North America versus Europe to kick things off.
Yeah, this is really interesting because Cryptik had a very slow start and got going, but Gankstars looked solid from minute 1 to all the way through the 3 maps that they played against Hi-Rez. I mean, this is the perennial in EU. They qualify at the top. They don't lose much at all, only losing 2 sets overall since we last saw them in the Masters. And of course, you're seeing that roster from left to right. The big question mark is Dyler, who had an okay performance yesterday, but visibly and actually verbally told us that he was not extremely happy with the way that he performed compared to how he usually does online. And today he's actually wearing the giant snow caps, maybe feeling himself a little bit there. But of course, team captain and caller Bird right next to him. LAizy, who's had a very good performance on all those blaster damages, Jorgos and Bomb King most notably. And of course, the former MVP, and still ability to kind of jump back and forth between damage and second kind of frontliner and Bonkar, and then Thiel. And there is the man himself, Dyler, coming in. He's looking nice and warm.
Yeah, I think warmed up today with the snow cap on as well. As you said, little beanie there, keeping them maybe a little bit more on their toes than previously. I think the best way to describe their performance yesterday was adequate. It was sufficient for the task at hand, but against a team like Team Cryptik, potentially not so. And on your screen right now, it is all of the members of Team Cryptik. And boy, do we have a cast of not just champions, but personalities here. They bring a lot to the table.
All 5 of them do. It's actually kind of odd to see how different they all kind of end up being in their actual, like, real-life mode. But then they get into game, and they're so complete, so cohesive, starting with that man right there, doesupz, who had probably one of the more miraculous performances on Makoa throughout the day. Kusqt, who his average healing numbers, thanks to Bacon back home, was over 150,000 throughout the games that he played. iDropBodies, of course, playing throughout the Inara, did not have as much of a standout performance. Switches over with WarDoom and picks up more of that damage dealing. Played Makoa, and of course a little bit of Ruckus. Can't say iDropBodies without saying his Androx's play, though.
Absolutely, that Androx's play was just disgusting to watch on screen, always coming from where they were least expected. Our maps are ready, though. The champions, the players are set. where are we going to be heading first in the realm shift?
It's going to be Serpent Beach. Again, this is probably what we would expect to see. It's at least some point early on. Both teams have themselves kind of nicely duking out on this map in the past, but specifically, both of them have very similar strategies when it comes to controlling that high ground, which is so pivotal towards that central neutral capture point. Especially with Gankstars, they have the ability to kind of delay, have that patience, find a way to get that opening frag. Whereas, of course, Cryptik likes to establish themselves early. This is a map where they can really afford to get aggressive and get those opening picks that they need.
It'll be very interesting to see exactly how these two teams do play out. Gankstars is the team which really pioneered very early on in professional Paladins play the style of play which is bend, do not break, react, but do not necessarily aggro into your enemy's backline, do not overextend, and very much base their playstyle around just the performance which their opponents are able to bring to them. And Cryptik, well, they might be able to actually force that to snap, especially if they maybe want to look towards potentially a weak link. We remarked on Dialer beforehand, and whilst their play and their performance has been adequate, how are they going to deal with the pressure if they are focused non-stop all game?
Yeah, without a doubt. And if you're looking at the front line of WarDoom, and if iDropBodies does get back there, or if doesupz is playing Makoa, those guys specifically have tremendous focus when it comes to finding a target and capitalizing on kills. But it will be Gankstars with the first overall selection. We saw a lot of Ruckus get picked up yesterday, but not too much to the tune of a winning record. He went 7-9 yesterday, but it will in fact be Ruckus as the first overall selection here on map 1.
A little bit different to what we're used to seeing from Gankstars, very often heavily prioritizing the Makoa first pick, but going with Ruckus more as a neutral lead here. They should recognize that not only is this played phenomenally by Cryptik, but also Cryptik might look to, if they open with that, take away Makoa, which they do, followed by Androxus. No surprises there based on iDropBodies' performance yesterday with that champion on this map. Something that Gankstars were going to have to be aware of, yet they're still going for Drogos in this circumstance. They're not afraid of Androxus being an aerial counter to this champion, and drafting Barrett for the double frontline along as well here. They're also not showing their hand by getting any kind of support pickup early.
Yeah, and that's really interesting that you bring that up, and with Inara being selected, it's kind of like the same thing happening for Cryptik, trying to make sure that they're establishing, all right, this is what we're going to meet you head on with, and going with the Damba, who was much more successful than Saris yesterday. And actually, speaking of, Makoa also has one of the best winning records from yesterday, 10-4 coming into today, and that will be Bomb King and Saris. So most notably, the double blaster coming out for Gankstars. This puts a very interesting dynamic into what personnel they have on their roster.
It certainly does, but with that in mind, Gankstars, talking to them a little bit earlier about this, they say that often either Drogos is heavily prioritized by Team Cryptik, or they'll leave it open, allow the other team to pick it, and then go for a last pick Bomb King, which potentially allows that to be exploited. We saw Evulli play a phenomenal Bomb King and Drogos yesterday, but how deep does their champion pool go if that isn't available?
That's a really good question, and I think we're about to find out. But interestingly enough, and this is what I was wondering before we came into today, is what impact did QG have on what champions will come out today? Buck was the last overall selection for Cryptik, and with that flank pressure with Androxus, we saw QG do this kind of phase 1, phase 2 with Buck and Eevee, where one would go in, the other would retreat, and then vice versa. I'm interested to see how aggressive they're going to play this Androxus comparatively to the Buck. Of course, Serpent Beach is a much more friendly environment towards that heroic leap, just because there's a lot of open space while still having some cover from left to right across the neutral capture point specifically. But again, this is going to be a tough target for Kusqt because the big front line's in front, and he's got to focus the Buck at the same time.
We are getting into game now, champions. The map on your screen right now, the long extended payload push around the corner towards the Serpent's head itself. And in spawn, we can see Gankstars, the blue squad, for today in game number 1, kicking it off versus Team Cryptik. Bonkar on the Ruckus here, ready to roll. And initially, we're going to see what positioning they all take around the team fights. This is paramount. High ground control here is key, but you have to respect the Dredge Anchor, and that's actually going for a flank.
Yeah, and this is what I expect from Gankstars. They'd like to get this waterfall sewer side in their control. Bonkar getting very aggressive and getting some pocket heals from behind, but doesupz is right here to contest as well. Right again in front of that waterfall, looking for a hook. He's got the rest of his team here. 15% for Cryptik so far, and First Blood actually going the way of Gankstars though, as LAizy finds a kill and now focuses on getting back to point. The Grumpy Bomb will dissuade Cryptik from staying any longer. The impasse as well will actually keep them safe from any other pressure.
Beautiful wall there coming out from Inara, just ensuring that no further sticky bombs could be thrown by LAizy. Nice reactive reversal as well from iDropBodies on Androxus to keep himself safe for the time being. But Bird now on Drogos. This is also very interesting to see. Very much a familiar name for this champion, but one that we haven't necessarily seen in a long time. But primarily playing support for Gankstars back where they feel comfortable.
Yeah, but still 80% and ticking up above that now as we talk. And actually, Bird getting aggressive against iDropBodies, but LAizy gets the kill. Still, regardless, all that aggression is really setting the tone, considering that you mentioned it. We haven't seen him play damage in any other situation except when they don't have their normal 5-man roster.
That's not the case this time around. Now LAizy going deep towards the backline, looks to put some pressure onto Kusqt's Maldamba. WarDoom as well on the Inara, falling very low. Sticky bombs round the corner, not finding their mark. Nice reactive snake toss from Kusqt, shuts the Bomb King down. But all the while the payload is moving. 2 minutes and 4 seconds left in the clock. 2 minutes 21 elapsed in game time. And Team Cryptik are only now able to establish a defense and look for a hold.
Evulli's playing this really smart as the Buck, though, jumping back towards the central part of the map, making some attention be brought to him, and Droxus actually has an opening to get through. They do find a pick onto Bird, so now the hole is really open, looking like Swiss cheese in the back line, and you're going to see Droxus and Buck trying to get there, but it's shut down by LAizy with a double kill on both frontliners. It allows Bonkar to turn around. They actually trade out the 3 for 2 in favor of Gankstars.
It was a really interesting use of conversions there, just to, whilst we saw that pressure go onto the backline from Buck, make sure that there was also an equal spread of pressure directly onto the backline of Team Cryptik as well, ensuring that there was split focus, and Gankstars with the respawn of LAizy at exactly the right time are able to continue. LAizy survives with 200 health though, but restores soul from Ceres, keeps them alive as they do continue straight towards the backline of their opposition. Thiel moves up on Barak, Dome Shield is ready, this could be used for conversion if necessary.
Yeah, and the Dragon Punch does come out to find doesupz. The King Bomb and the Dome Shield, as you mentioned, are still available for Gankstars as well. It's just a Dread Serpent, a Curse Star, and Buckwild also could be used. Nothing being triggered as of yet though, and numbers are still favoring the side of Gankstars as they push successfully. Inara couldn't get back to points.
But also I'm wondering where was Evulli going straight to the backline, did not contest, absolutely nothing coming through there, but they needed to buy that extra second for the frontliners for Team Cryptik to be able to get back onto the objective. Ultimates were up and available, but with respawn proximity being so close, that could have been very much safer for Team Cryptik, but they give it away.
This is a really bold strategy for Cryptik to go with the Buck off the bat, map number 1, very little time to get themselves warmed back up into the land environment, and it's not going great for them. It's not going poorly, but it's just the simple fact that both Drogoz and, of course, the Bomb King have just been putting out so much poke, so much damage. There's been no opening whatsoever.
4, 3, 2, 1.
And in the meantime, as we were saying, it was sitting at that 2-0 mark for Gankstars, able to get the conversion all the way through, and I'm just wondering their shift towards the end on Serpent Beach. In that kind of environment, in that kind of circumstance, we do just have to ask, there we go, as we are back into the fight, it does appear on your screens. The second point has started. Itemization for both teams is available as well. Double Porterize coming out for Gankstars, only single between Cryptik. Heavy advantage towards the blue team so far, but actually it's Cryptik which are leading in this fight.
Yeah, WarDoom is being really aggressive against his Barrack. If you do not allow him to sit around those turrets, he becomes very vulnerable. The Dome Shield came out early, so WarDoom knew he had an opportunity to move through, but still, it is Ruckus on point. You can see Dylar from the background with that Restore Soul, able to get him back to full HP. It is going to be the Ancient Rage coming out, though, and this is getting aggressive for the Makoa. The Half Shell coming down as well, and now Kusqt actually getting aggressive against Bird, and doesupz is able to help follow up, and a pull as well. Able to pull away Gankstars, but still, the capture percentage continues to count up for the blue team. They are up 2-0, so of course that comeback mechanic should be in fact there for Cryptik, but they're not able to stay alive. As you can see, these frontliners of Thiel and Bonkar, just too much pressure established with Dylar from behind, giving them that Restore Soul throughout the entirety of those fights, and 3-0 goes to scoreboard.
Despite the double flank from Team Cryptik, they're just unable to find enough pressure onto Dylar, currently playing Ceres, as he said, to be able to shut down the all-important support for Gankstars. And with the frontline being left alive, doesn't matter if the damage deal is full, they'll respawn. The objective pressure won't continue as it is just stalled out, as we have frontline versus frontline on the objective, but now the payload is ready. 3-0 in favor of Gankstars. Ultimates on the board. We are sitting on Dragon Punch. Could be used to conserve and continue momentum here if Gankstars want to push this through.
They need to find a pick. iDropBodies has yet to really find much all-star potential with his Androxus. He's getting outboxed by both the Drogoz and the Bomb King, which are two fights that he should and needs to be winning. And you can see he's actually playing very passive, just kind of picking apart from a distance, only doing about 100 damage or so to the frontliners, and trying to find just an opening. And that's the problem with Androxus's Buck. If they do not have a low health pool target to close in on, they really don't do much from afar.
Right, Gankstars are very, very used to being isolated and playing against top-tier Andro players. They know that they cannot split up. They have to be able to react in just the right amount of time to be able to defend. And back up to the high ground, maybe looking for some damage. A Cursed Arm has come out from iDropBodies, but at a third of their HP left. really isn't able to find any targets, and LAizy cleans them up.
This just continues. LAizy has been playing an incredible tournament thus far and continues to show up today, hitting a lot of stickies onto those squishy targets, those hard-to-reach targets. The Dread Serpent will actually dissuade him from getting that accelerant in, but it's not going to stop him from getting the kill as Kusqt goes down. doesupz as well. iDropBodies finally getting a kill onto LAizy, but Thiel is pushing right into the face of iDropBodies right back. He has to go back to spawn, and this is going to create extra space for this payload to continue to move. We're still above 45 seconds, Fox, and there's no sign of this thing slowing down.
From behind comes Evulli, but Dragon Punch, King Bomb. Here we go, though. Buckwild used to answer back. Bird taken down before we can maybe see this payload push through. King Bomb now challenged as well. Dome Shield and Hexafire have already expired. Inara is tanky, but is she tanky enough? The headshots roll through from Bonkar. The contest comes in as the respawn from doesupz is here, and Ancient Rage will buy some time.
And that's actually going to keep him alive throughout the duration of that stun as iDropBodies finds two low targets. A great pull once again from doesupz. So really good control for Cryptik. Again, it just came in really, really late. You see all those percentages in the top right of your screen. That relates to what those ultimate charges are at. They used a lot. The Buck Wild, the Seismic Crash, the Ancient Rage. And this is just going to allow Gankstars to continue to poke at the very last part of this. Maybe go for a little bit of an overtime surge. But regardless, they hold an advantage in the ultimate charge.
Still, Evulli is down. However, Kusqt takes out Bonkar. That's one frontline down for Gankstars already. But LAizy is able to answer back with a kill on the Kusqt. No sustain. Will the frontliners just be tanky enough to be able to survive through all the incoming damage from Gankstars as the respawns are returning? iDropBodies certainly isn't able to. They're going to be forced back towards their spawn, and doesupz very low on health as Makoa could be in trouble. A Curse Damage ready straight towards contest goes iDropBodies, but shut down by Bonkar, who picks up a double kill, looking for a triple kill, but Thiel steals it away. Dread Serpent used to defend here. Will it be enough?
This is absolutely nuts to see. Cryptik does not have the potential to hold on, and this is just, again, a rinse and repeat of what we saw yesterday. Nobody is killing supports. Sarah stays alive in the background, heals up both frontliners with just one right click that restores soul, and that's just all it needs. You just keep your frontliners there. LAizy comes back, finds a couple of clutch kills, and Cryptik is stunned. I mean, this is a very weak showing for them in map number 1, and again, I have to question using an Androxus and a Buck. It just seemed very unfamiliar for them, and again, they didn't have the opportunity to jump in and have an impact whatsoever.
With a team composition like that, they were lacking a lot in ranged pokes. So whilst we can't see maybe some of the damage come out for iDropBodies, 40,000 on the board, far exceeded by everybody really on the side of Gankstars, sitting at 66,000 for Thiel, Bonkar, 68,000, LAizy on the Bomb King, 76k. Notably, Bird actually not having much of an impact that game comparatively at only, 50,000 damage, so still able to frag out where necessary, even if they weren't finding the kills.
The big problem to me again becomes, when you look at Buck and why it was so successful yesterday for QG was because they had somebody else to take the opposite flank. Yes. And it was a pass for the baton between the two of them. So if Buck gets low, he can come back out. Eevee can jump right back in. That wasn't the case at all for Androxus. There's just too much chip damage, not enough burst when you have those two combinations. 9 deaths for Evulli, 8 for iDropBodies, the 2 most in the server. That's not what you want to see when you're relying your entire strategy based on the fact that you're going to pull people away from the front line, open up the back. There is just, it was a curtain call completely throughout it.
Yeah, it was very difficult to see them actually be able to pull that off. And on your screen right now, we do have Thiel, the Barrack player from the previous game. Now, often we have seen Thiel on Makoa, and previously players like Bonkar on Barrack instead playing that, so we say flex or off frontliner just to be able to fill the role where necessary, but able to put on a very good performance as Barrack. One of the 3rd highest damages in game, I think we saw it, over 60k for him as well. Some very important Dome Shield usage as well, just to push towards conversion. Definitely demonstrating a mastery of all frontliners, not just the Makoa we're used to seeing.
Yeah, and he did not play a lot of Barrack coming into this. Just finding a way to set himself up passively at first. And Barrack is a game of inches. You set up one turret, you get yourself established, you set up the next, you might throw up a barricade here and there, but you literally have to stagger those turrets left and right or hide them around cheeky corners. He was able to showcase both of those mechanical plays throughout the entirety of that first map. And a 4-0 victory is exactly the way Gankstars wants to get the day going as they look forward to getting to another finals appearance. They've done the last 2 straight, looking to make it a 3rd. And this is not the start that Cryptik needs. They need to find a way to establish themselves. This draft to me told me that they came in trying to change their game plan last night to try to find something new instead of going with what they know.
Right, and it seems like it is last minute, as you said, but whilst this isn't the start they might have needed, it is maybe a start which they're familiar with based on the reverse sweep which they were able to pull off yesterday.
Right.
Maybe on-the-fly adaptation is the name of the game, and as we do head through to Timber Mill, a bit of a surprise there as our next map up. I'm excited to see potentially what we might have brought to the table. This is a map, well, Shift, talk to me about the dynamic because I'm ready.
There's a lot to consider here. Drogos has been played a lot. I don't anticipate seeing a lot, if any, Drogos being played on this map, simply because, again, those tall trees force him into these really open air areas where it's really easy to target him down, especially when you consider that how much cover there is on these tall kind of sniper nests. You see where I'm going with this? Canessa might very well come out in here,
really,
and a lot of people.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a map which is fabled for her as well, and often favoring the long line of side champions, the champions which are lacking in fall-off, whilst Airborne and doesupz might be picked up just here. We'll have to see if that will be the case as they do suffer at range. Makoa, the first pick for Gankstars though, who do have it again, so Team Cryptik actually giving up the first pick this time around. Go for immediately dousupz and Evie. They want that hyper mobility. They want to be able to put pressure onto the backline of Gankstars, who have a reputation for legendary Canessa, played by, I think, 4 members of their team at this point, now with Dyla as a substitute addition.
Yeah. This is interesting to me because this is Cryptik's map choice. They go at Timber Mill and they take the 2 picks that counter out Canessa to dissuade Gankstars from going with it, and I think Gankstars would be okay with that. The only thing I can see Cryptik doing is to run the 3 damage here and possibly also pick up the Canessa, but that leaves them very one-dimensional. It'll be interesting to see how that fight transitions onto the point. We are going to have the Makoa Ruckus versus Inanara so far, who can be a solo frontline with a Meldama pocket healing.
Now, the Inara is a tricky one as well. Timbermill shares a lot of its verticality elements with Stone Keep, and Inara can suffer on maps like this where from above you can bypass her impasse and continue bombarding her with a lot of damage very, very consistently. However, with double flank pressure on the side of Team Cryptik, it's going to be more difficult for those damage dealers such as LAizy on Bomb King to just focus on frontline. They're going to have to deal with the imminent threat coming in from around the peripheral, but it's actually triple frontline that's been drafted for Gankstars here as Ceres and Barak have been picked up last, and as we see on screen, doesupz there looking maybe confused. It is a Drogos who's drafted finally. So point hold versus point break.
This is a very interesting draft for both squads. Gankstars is essentially saying, if you're going to use your last pick for Canessa, we're going to force you to essentially have to take Wrecker and use that character just for shredding away shields. Because Evie does not do it great, and dousupz obviously does not do it great. So it actually forces them to say, all right, well, we'll test you. How good is your Canessa at breaking down shields? Or like we see on screen, it's going to force them into a Drogos, which leaves them very one-dimensional because, again, dousupz and Evie are not going to have a lot of targets to go after. Bomb King can stay very mobile, can stay very hidden in the backline while still throwing out those sticky bombs on point, and it's going to leave Inara in a very tough 3-on-1 situation on top of the point. This is going to have to be a very strong game from dousupz and Evie if they want to have an impact.
Not just that, you mentioned that Inara is going to be vulnerable. It's going to have to be a very strong game from WarDoom as well. Clutch utilization of impasse to block off Cauterize, or just purely block off damage and maybe lock herself in a corner to be able to self-sustain back up to full is going to be critical here if Cryptik want to be able to hold their ground versus Gankstars. Initial early game, well, it's triple tank, it's triple frontline. That really only goes the way of Gankstars, but as the itemization comes online later into the game, as Cryptik do get their wreckers, as they get the Cauterize online as well, well, we'll have to see if that does take a turn as we do get into game, and in this shady trees of the canopies being casting their shadows onto the ground in Timber Mill, how's it going to start?
This is going to be interesting. I think that at the beginning of this, it's going to look like a 3v5. Evulli has to have the game of his life right now on Drogos if he's able to not only break down all of these shields, but on top of that, open up some area with some health that is low enough for an dousupz and Evie to jump on.
And so far, we are following along with LAizy as they take the high ground advantage and then push round for a peripheral flank. Poppy Bomb is ready. Damage towards Evie as that's pulled in by Makoa. But first blood goes to Evulli, who is able to shred through Dyla. LAizy relocates, putting the pressure onto dousupz, who is too mobile. And Evie continually, it's just trying to force out Ceres here to make sure that consistent healing is not possible. Does not care about the fact that LAizy is here. dousupz can take out Bird. Evulli takes down Thiel. This is really good from Team Cryptik to start off. off.
Mistakes from Gankstars. They needed to just all 5 of them go straight to the point and force Cryptik to find picks. That time through, they spread themselves out, and doesupz had a lot of opportunities to just poke and prod as Evie, which is the exact thing you want this way if you're GS.
And only on the Ceres as well. Their focus was legendary there. That's exactly what you need to do with a champion like Evie onto Ceres. With Shadow Travel providing you with so much safety, you've got to keep on being consistent on them. You've got to keep on chasing them down. Perfect performance so far from Team Cryptik, and as the kills keep on coming through for the team in red, they continue to hold. Cryptik capture at under 2 minutes, uncontested from Gankstars, and lead 1-0.
And I don't think there's been a single kill so far for Gankstars. This has been all Cryptik. You can see the kill streaks on the top right, and doesupz has got a 4 streak of his own, and that's the case. Not a single kill for Gankstars. They are not playing their comp the way they have to. This is a point stat comp. Why are you spreading yourselves out and giving doesupz and iDropBodies an opportunity to get themselves going?
LAizy is able to answer back with a kill on the doesupz there, so ending his streak at last. Bonkar as well can take down Evulli, but straight up, Kusqt following alongside, pocketing this Androxus. That is a deadly combo to deal with when the flanks do come to play, and iDropBodies takes the high ground. In a little bit of trouble here. Barik now able to get established. Dyla might be able to provide some resistance towards Team Cryptik, but look at the ultimate charges on your screen right now, Shift.
Yeah, Dread Serpent being used as the first one of those ultimates to drop out. iDropBodies will try to throw the reversal back with Thiel with the patience and the timing to send it right through after that animation is completed. And now finally, Gankstars getting a little bit of momentum on this defense. This is a very tough part of the map here, Vox, for Cryptik to not only establish themselves, but to get that payload around the corner in the face of so much verticality favoring the defense. Very difficult and tall task.
But at the same time, they do have the mobile flanks to be able to provide distraction, force focus fire away from the objective, and allow Team Cryptik to focus all of their damage onto just the frontliners, with only doesupz on Evie pulling Bomb King's focus away. From above, Bonkar looks for WarDoom, finds the kill, Dragon Punch surges through but finds absolutely nobody, but in the meantime, iDropBodies finds 2, and Convergence is used to try and stem some of the bleeding from Gankstars, but it's just not enough, and the push continues.
Yeah, 3 for iDropBodies coming on the back end of what was an Accursed Arm double kill, and finding the third just picking and prodding. It might find Bonkar here as well. The emitter comes out, but the healthful favors iDropBodies, and now he's got himself going, finding 4 straight.
LAizy trying to do something here. Anything is being chipped away from 2 sides. Rampage for iDropBodies as they find their 5th in a row, and now Thiel, in a lot of trouble, is forced into Ancient Rage. Convergence use as well, but it pulls in nobody. Inara CC immune. Thiel very low on health, forced to turn tail and flee. Can they find Ceres, or will iDropBodies hunt them down? The shot comes through. iDropBodies on a 6 streak right now. 6 kills in a row, but does get shut down at last. 8 seconds left on the clock, so close to conversion. This could go through. Gankstars, can they hold?
doesupz with 2 as well, looking to get back, and he's on a 7 streak. Evulli also finding a frag, having a really good game like he needs to. Ice Storm just to zone everybody away. Overtime is in effect, but it's push successful for Team Cryptik. They flip the tide, go up 2-0.
Absolutely beautiful use of Ice Storm there right at the end as well from doesupz, recognizing that very low on health as Evie, even if they're about to fall, their Ice Storm will persist after death, and able to drop that down there, just providing the zone pressure necessary to prevent Thiel from charging straight back in. Beautiful conversion. Great play so far. Team Cryptik, this is so different to what we saw in game number 1.
And I think a lot of this, again, comes to the fact that Gankstars has essentially refused to stack up. They need to get themselves together. Use that repulsor field on your frontliners. Keep them alive as long as possible.
They need Kusqt on their team. They need somebody screaming stack, but they've got it. You're right. They've got to get to the objective. They have to get established rather than be torn apart 1 by 1.
Yeah, this is looking really good for Cryptik. The itemization now is going to drastically favor them, especially when you consider that they need this record to get online. Evulli says, level 2 is good enough for now. Let me get 1 little instance of a Haven just to keep myself alive a little bit longer, and then I imagine he'll probably go straight into that record 3. doesupz finding an opportunity, finding Ceres in the background, will try to get himself over there, not only with a blink, but also a sword, reprieving back to full HP, and has a nice vantage point here, looking down onto Ceres. Will find a lot of damage. iDropBodies picks off Dyler in the meantime, though, and a Dragon Punch also coming out. This is looking good for Cryptik.
Really huge for, again, doesupz to be able to continually pressure out Evie, because as they do so, and as Evulli finds a double kill, and doesupz finds 2 of their own, as long as you're pressuring Ceres, as long as you're forcing her into shadow travel, she's not healing. This immediately turns the game into a 5v4 in favor of Team Cryptik, and they are rolling with that.
Look at iDropBodies nearing the 40,000 damage mark, right above Evulli, who's had, again, he needed to have a great game. He's having that great game, and now doesupz actually surpasses and goes into that third spot as well. So the top 3 damage in the game are the 3 big damage dealers for Cryptik. That's exactly what you want to see. Although Dyler does turn around and say enough of this so far. Let's get rid of iDropBodies and get this defense established. And they're going for that high ground, which is what they need to do.
Absolutely trying to for the time being. LAizy on Bomb King, 510 health, 1 rocket away from death, or a Fire Spit, but it's Salvo which is used and able to clean up the kill before the Fire Spit is detonated. LAizy will survive, finds WarDoom, has to be careful. The moats around the corner for the third person perspective, sets up the trap momentarily, but on finding no damage, is actually stalled out there out of combat regen and could be in a dangerous predicament here.
Cursed Arm could be used. Seismic Crash is also going to be pushed out for that ultimate just to try to get that stun off. Not finding a lot of conversion, although iDropBodies does pick off Thiel, which is a big pick. Bonkar is also exposed here, and doesupz is trying to take this out, but actually loses sight of him for just an instant. Will reprieve away, but it's still Bonkar surviving with that pocket heal and the emitter as well. Will get him up towards full HP as he nears towards that payload.
Payload is moving, but ever slowly, Dragon Punch channeled in the face of Ruckus, still able to find the kill as Evulli, as iDropBodies finds 2 of their own. Now Thiel and Makoa, under so much pressure, falls to WarDoom, crumbles before the might of the Stone Warden, and Gankstars have no defense once again. With the respawn proximity being in their favor, they can get established on the objective. Team Cryptik have no intention of letting them do so.
No, I mean, they're all up on top of the high ground, which is exactly where you want to be. You see doesupz is giving LAizy a tough time. He will accelerate away, but still, doesupz just says, all right, I'll just go ahead and sword and find the next target. Let Evulli take care of it. Passes the baton to his other damage dealer, and with 40 seconds left, Fox, numbers are still favoring Cryptik.
An Ancient Rage was just used by Thiel's Makoa there as well. We see so much being burnt by Gankstars on the defense, and here comes Convergence as well. Only Inara pulled in, who's safe behind their impasse. This is tragic from Gankstars. They're finding nothing from their ultimates here, and Team Cryptik are sitting on 90% and rising for Seismic Crash and charging a plenty of their own in the meantime.
Oh, a nice pull there, timing from Thiel to help get Bonkar that kill onto doesupz. 10 seconds remaining. Gankstars, again, you can see them on the screen. They're just really spread apart from north to south. This could be very dangerous, but still, with overtime nearing, it might not be enough time to get this Inara back. LAizy's doing a decent job of getting the damage done, finding 2 kills, and finally, Gankstars finds themselves a point.
A little bit of a stacker there. Gankstars able to pick up important kills where they did matter, whilst at the cost of ultimates, and even really not having those ultimates pay off in terms of kills, just in pure point pressure and play following on from that. They are able to stabilize. Team Cryptik are ahead of the game at this point. This is right now, it's just game point for them, and they could be advancing through here if they get another successful capture. So far, there's been no indication that that's going to change from the previous 2 rounds.
And it's not going to look any better. The earlier the game is, the better it is for the 3-tank meta, just simply because Wrecker's not online yet. Wrecker's online now. This is a really bad situation for Gankstars to be as you take a look on the screen of what we have available. It is a level 3 Wrecker coming out for Evulli, a level 2 actually for the Androxus, and a level 2 for Kusqt. So again, just knowing how important it is to get those shields down as quickly as possible is going to be the key for success for Cryptik.
The only shield that exists in the game right now, for all intents and purposes, is Barrick's Dome Shield. It's got 20,000 health, and beyond that, it really doesn't matter. Immediately, LAizy, though, is able to take out Evulli, and this is a big and very important pick. Seismic Crash used by Inara to try and counteract, but WarDoom is isolated, and now Barrick is getting established on the objective. doesupz forced out as well as Bonkar cleans up WarDoom. This could be big for Gankstars. They have the comeback mechanic, 50% and climbing. Team Cryptik, they're looking very different this time around.
It was get Evulli off and then get WarDoom off. That's it. That's all you had to do is get them off the field and get to a point where you can control the front line and control the damage that's incoming, and they were able to do so very successfully. Cryptik, though, finding kills. doesupz to the backline. Evulli as well, able to push and put a lot of pressure. 2 frontliners of the 3 are down, and now we're at an even just above 78% as Cryptik continues to rise their percentage.
Straight to the objective goes Saris in their shadow travel. Beautiful Hexafire drops down even better impasse. Soaking the damage there was iDropBodies and reversals still cleaned up, but that allows doesupz to pick up a double kill. doesupz looking for a triple kill as well, tries to find damage on a Thiel, who goes down to a final stone shard from the Stone Warden themselves. Dome Shield buys time, but Ice Block is ready. doesupz will just survive and contest. Overtime is ticking, and WarDoom takes down Dyler.
Now we're getting that conga line that you famously relate to the EU side of things, and with the convergence coming out, nobody gets pulled by it once again. Although Bonkar is here, they're able to find a way to keep things going, but the Dread Serpent pushes everybody away. 99% for Cryptik. Overtime is starting to tick away, and Team Cryptik find themselves a 4-1 victory.
Right at the end there as well. Phenomenal impasse from Inara, recognizing the Dread Serpent pushes everybody away, and let's hold them at arm's length, ensure that there is no chance of a further overtime. Contest no more. Beautiful capture, phenomenal play on a less than common map from Team Cryptik. In the first game, we thought that maybe they haven't done their homework and they've tried to change things up last minute. This time around in map number 2 on Timber Mill, we see that they are very much more prepared than we expected.
Color me surprised. I figure with Gankstars how complete they've played, not only through the qualifiers, but yesterday, this 3-tank was going to do well. They're going to just get themselves a 5-on-3 early on, not let doesupz get a chance to get into the back line. Not the case whatsoever, but the big storyline is iDropBodies with a less than stellar performance in game number 1, comes back and goes 12, 6, and 13 on Androxus against 3 tanks. Are you kidding me?
This just seems to defy expectations as well. We talked about how they were playing a very mid-range Androxus game on Serpent Beach, which is the more compact map than Timber Mill. And then on Timber Mill, they had free reign to dive straight towards every enemy they chose, fire those 600 damage shots off with no fall off at all, and just stack up kill after kill after kill. Be a distraction, be a force of nature, the frag master that we know them as, rather than what they look like in game number 1, where some things appear to be lacking.
This is where Cryptik becomes dangerous, like we talked about yesterday. They were down 2 maps against the Nile. They get themselves back in halfway through the 3rd and just pull off that reverse sweep. And that's key because it was the damage dealers that were not performing in the first 2 maps. They come out surging with just a couple of little switches of who plays what. There's no hesitation here. They have a slow start in map number 1, but that map, all 3 players playing damage, ending up top? Are you kidding me? That's dangerous.
It's very impressive, but also it was a refocus on target prioritization. We saw specifically then again doesupz make sure that they were going after Saris. We made the remark earlier, nobody's focusing supports in game number 1. We saw Dyla playing Saris for Gankstars, just sitting and sustaining frontline again and again and again. This time around, we didn't see Bird have the same luxury, but we do have plenty more games ahead of us. This is a best of 7 semi-final set. We've seen so far Serpent Beach and Timber Mill. Coming up next shift,
Frog Isle.
Ooh.
That's, again, this is Gankstars, what we refer to as being like their home
This
court.
is their map.
Without a doubt. But that being said, Cryptik's had a very nice, strong record throughout the qualifiers on this map. But this is one of those maps, again, that we talk about, I like to refer to as a teeter-totter. You lose one team fight, and all of a sudden the enemy is in your base, right into your face. No matter if the capture point has been completely spawned up with the payload or not, it just kind of goes back and forth in one way or the other. If you can find yourself at a 2-0 lead, you hold a significant advantage in the itemization, which always pays key, simply because of how central that capture point can be. You can funnel a lot of damage in very, very quickly.
You certainly can, as well as holding the opportunity to have zone priority. We often see champions like Ruckus, or if a Victor is played, or any kind of hit scan, force, as you said, not necessarily out towards your opponent's base, but just far enough to keep your opponents trapped in their base. Dismounting is such an important factor in competitive Paladins, and making sure that the enemies are off their mounts as early as possible is crucial and is key. So even though we don't see them too often, with iDropBodies' performance on Androxus this previous game, I'm interested to see if that comes out again. The draft is available on your screens right now. No surprises here. First pick Ruckus goes through to Gankstars, all tied up 1-1. How will Cryptik respond?
This is interesting, I think, simply because the fact that Ruckus has, again, been a very big priority because of the utility he brings out of repulsor field, the damage he can bring with the double miniguns that he has in his possession. But of course, you could take either Record or Cauterize, and that is a viable option as far as a champion goes to spread that around. It will be Drogoz and Makoa, though, in response. So this has been very traditional as the first 3 top 4 picks that we've seen throughout the last now day and 2 maps. And this is looking good for Cryptik, a good start.
Once again, remarking on how Cryptik, we heard from Gankstars, they've observed that they take the Drogoz very early or leave themselves open for a late Bomb King. Now, whilst Gankstars are aware of that strategy and did exploit it in game number 1 with double blaster, double AoE, they are going to be forced to pick the Bomb King early here, or potentially Cryptik could run back the same strategies towards them. I've got to ask, is there a second AoE player on Team Cryptik?
I mean, again, it comes down to who's going to pick it up. That last game, it was doesupz playing an Eevee. That we haven't seen him play Eevee in a very long time. Most traditionally referred to as being that all-star Cassie player, and of course, he has the potential of picking up Ruckus, and of course, we saw yesterday the Makoa. It will be a Meldamba and a Cassie. So I like this, though, because the Drogoz is pretty much all you need as far as dropping a lot of area damage onto the point, and Cassie is one of those big kill converters, especially with how strong the dodge roll build is with Exaction, where she gets that bonus damage and the reset of having a first shot conversion after hitting their dodge roll. She can really be treated like a flank here.
And so Gankstars with their full lineup as Cryptik have one pick left to go, lead with Ruckus, followed by Barik, Bomb King, Ceres, and iDropBodies, which is surprising for Frog Isle, a less seen pick on this map, specifically because they do suffer from being unable to sneak up on their opponents, and they can't chip away at mid-range as well as they used to be able to. But we certainly know that Dialer potentially for this squad might feel more comfortable on a champion which is, well, more comfortable to them than on a meta pick, which is more appropriate for the composition. And as we saw yesterday, maybe going with what you know is a solution which they want to try out. But Cryptik, it's Inara that they've picked up last again.
Yeah, this is interesting. Dialer is forced to get the 1v1 right now versus Drogoz. That's the matchup they're looking for, so it puts some pressure on him to perform here. He doesn't have the ability to sit back and kind of play passively and just kind of add his numbers to the damage chart in a neutral kind of way. He has to be aggressive and find a way to take care of the Drogoz. Nobody else really has a chance to do it outside of possibly Barrack turrets and Blunderbuss and Ruckus, but that's not as much damage as an iDropBodies can bring to the table. He's going to have a lot of obstacles though. Cassie's been playing very well, especially in the hands of doesupz, and with Inara and Makoa, again, we anticipate that being flip-flop between WarDoom and iDropBodies. This is a dangerous combo for Cryptik, and to be completely honest, based on how they've performed with this similar style of draft, I have to give the edge to Cryptik here early on.
Cryptik certainly do have a devastating draft, and I want to talk about the Drogo specifically as well, because we mentioned that iDropBodies is going to be a useful tool for Gankstars to maybe put a halt on the Drogo's train, but otherwise we saw combustible Drogos picked up by Evulli yesterday during the quarterfinal set. And on a map like Frog Isles, we are going to get into the game. There are so many peak Fire Spit, shoot a rocket, and then drop back down opportunities for Evulli here, if that's what they choose to do. They can stay very safe, round behind cover, and close to their Makoa, which would otherwise lead them to be in a very vulnerable position.
Indeed, and on board with Dialer to start things off. Let's see what the sub can bring to the table early on. Looking for this frog statue side flank, and we'll actually have a shot in angle on Cassie, but it's going to be refocused as, again, you see the Inara and the Makoa have set themselves up on point, and their capture percentage has a very quick 24% for Cryptik, putting the pressure on early.
I love that, though, the double dash from Dialer, just making sure the Abyss Walker heal comes through. LAizy picks up first blood as doesupz has been chipped down. Up and over they go. No, back to safety, but the Grumpy Bomb thrown out, cutting off the retreat from Team Cryptik. Gankstars could advance here, but they have lost their Barak, and they are down a member of frontline, just content to zone for the time being, get some chip capture on the objective. More than just a bit of chip as well, as it's 60% and rising, and Gankstars now hold strong, as just trying to contest will be Makoa, but how long can they last versus these dual miniguns of Ruckus?
And Bonkar is shredding through the headshots, but Maldamba keeps Makoa alive throughout it, and Evulli and WarDoom come back with 2 big kills to themselves. A nice impasse to keep WarDoom safe and back towards his healer. He will use that Mother's Grace to get that damage reduction, and of course, also bolstering his healing. 72% is where it stalls out for Gankstars, and now Cryptik with the numbers and the positioning have an opportunity to not only match that, but surpass it, what could potentially be a number 1 point on the scoreboard.
But WarDoom took that eye off the ball, looking towards LAizy in the backline on Bomb King instead of maybe focusing on the front line. Allowed Gankstars to score the capture for just a moment. Dialer picks up a double kill on iDropBodies. That's going to help stem some of the pressure from Team Cryptik for the time being, but Bonkar is very low on health. Can they find the damage versus Makoa? Ceres keeps them alive. Convergence will not find the pull. That's not going to be good enough, as the CC immunity from Mother's Grace is for WarDoom, and they answer back with Seismic Crash, but it's 96% for Gankstars.
And it's 5 straight kills for Dialer, who picked apart one by one all these low health targets in the background, and nobody changed their focus to take care of them. We saw that happen a lot yesterday from this Cryptik squad against C1, who was playing the iDropBodies. Seems to be a weak spot for them once again here.
iDropBodies may be the key to Gankstars' success, as long as Dialer can keep on performing as they have been. Finds another kill on the doesupz. Dread Serpent used just on LAizy there to try and keep the team alive. That's a big ultimate, exhausted already by Team Cryptik. But Gankstars continue to set this payload rolling. Barak getting established all the while the respawns are coming through. The pressure continues. How long will WarDoom sustain here on the front line unless they're able to get out of combat?
Here's the big issue that Gankstars might have, is the fact that it takes a while for Thiel to get set up as Barak, and Ruckus is relatively squishy if he does not have any cooldowns available for an emitter or a repulsor field. If they can stagger that out and Cryptik can get in the face of this front line like they're doing right now, they're going to have an opportunity to turn the tides on these team fights.
And it's going to have to be the Drogos as well as Cassie who put the pressure onto Ruckus repeatedly there. Those advanced charges can be caught up with dodge roll Cassie, and of course Drogo's able to drop fire spits around corners. You think you're safe, and Combustible will go ahead and drop 1300 damage on you if you receive no fall off there. But advancing through Bonkar, very confident they will be sustained by their team. Dial looking for the picks on towards Drogos, can't find them round the corner, pulled in by Makoa. Too greedy, but reversal saves their life. Parry of the Abyss, reset comes through as well, and they are able to dash out of there to safety briefly.
Beautiful pick and prod from Dyler. Now the Convergence finds 3, but it is a hook that might just send Thiel over the edge. Taste of his own medicine doesn't make a difference, though, as Evulli helps convert. The Ancient Rage, though, is expired, and LAizy will be happy to take away the rest of that health pool from iDropBodies, and now an opportunity for Gankstars to continue this push, as you see LAizy getting these airborne sticks, and now looking for more, as he goes right into the face of WarDoom, who's out by himself. The Warder's shield comes down, but is it enough to keep him alive? The answer is definitively no, and Team Cryptik is staggering on defense with less than 30 seconds left until overtime.
And not just, it's deliberately from Gankstars that they are staggering as well. WarDoom left alive for just a second longer than was maybe necessary. Help keep the stagger really coming through. King Bomb channeled, LAizy looking for blood, does get shut down by iDropBodies, but Dyler is able to capitalize. Double kill for Androxus so far. Evulli finds the Dragon Punch on a Bonkar, but Dyler picks up 4 out of 5 kills here. Will they be able to find WarDoom, who is just staying alive? Overtime is ticking. Saris is contesting still, but there we go. The rampage comes through for Dyler. The respawns for Team Cryptik. Can they stay alive? Shut down at last. LAizy has returned to the fight, as has Saris. Can Gankstars stagger in, or is it too little too late?
No Saris on the table is going to make it very difficult for these low healthful frontliners to stay in, especially with how much damage is online for Cryptik, and it will be defended successfully. Evulli finding 2 kills, and Team Cryptik getting big picks, finding the support, and of course, taking down Dyler before he gets down official pentakill.
A really good performance from Dyler, picking up 5 kills in a row there at the end, able to take down WarDoom, but even better from WarDoom to survive for that long, making sure they were nimble around their Warder's field, ensuring that they took as little damage as possible and bought enough time for the respawns to be able to come back through as a group from Team Cryptik, not individually, as that stagger could have been lethal. It
could have been very lethal, and it was that much closer for Gankstars to push that one all the way through. If that couple picks go the opposite way, we could be looking at a 2-0, but nevertheless, we are at a 1-1. Of course, the itemization should favor the team in blue as they have that neutral capture point. A lot of cauterizers coming online for the blue side, and for Cryptik, you see these Chronoses coming online. One instance of morale boost for that ultimate charge percentage, and an instance of master riding as well.
Oh my goodness, the aggression from doesupz, though, straight to the enemy backline, forces Saris into an immediate shadow travel straight up the fight, leaving Bonkar very vulnerable on the objective, and here comes the Cassie chase down that we talked about before. doesupz finds one. Can they find a second one as they push towards Thiel? Dredgenko will actually force the Cassie shot to miss, but now Scout has been activated, 30% bonus movement speed, which they'll use to get out of danger, get out of dodge, toss a spray to the side, and continue to poke and pressure out their opponents, preventing them from advancing towards the objective, which rises above 60% for Team Cryptik.
Great team call in the beginning of this fight, just to commit to going straight through the middle and into the backline. Evulli was there at doesupz, and iDropBodies was also there. He gets a pull just before the convergence comes out, and Evulli finds himself too with the Hexafire, though. Will it be countered out? Evulli not able to convert that all the way through before Thiel was able to take him down, but nevertheless, Cryptik find themselves 4 of the 5 kills and get up 2-1.
A completely different beast this time around. Team Cryptik have a handle on the objective, they have a handle on Gankstars, and they appear to be holding them by that throat straight to the back. Then, as we remarked, it's so important that iDropBodies and as well as that doesupz were able to put the pressure onto the backline where it was necessary on, from Gankstars, rather than being distracted all the while by the frontliners. But when the time comes, they are definitely not afraid to turn their attention to those meaty monsters. They're looking to shut them all down. The stun from the Grumpy Bomb stops iDropBodies in his tracks, but Shell Spin will close the gap and pull LAizy off the edge of the map. Can they find their way back up? iDropBodies throw it off, so close. LAizy survives, and Team Cryptik, though, have bought themselves so much space.
A battle of displacements there. Dredgenko and then Poppy Bomb away. What an incredible play using the 6th man, which is the water hazard off to the left. Great play from both players trying to get that little bit of an edge, but regardless, it is Gankstars who find that small advantage, but it's not relating to much of a defensive hold. We could sit and harp on that all day, but 1 minute and 20 seconds left on this payload, and it's already rounded the corner of this corner tree and moving its way downhill.
The problem is the cauterized pressure from Gankstars is really online now with cauterized 3, and WarDoom is pretty much the only player that can sustain through all of the damage, all of the anti-heal coming out from Gankstars. King Bomb finds one, Evulli finds LAizy in response. response, and Gankstars continue to hold, chipping down their opponents and whittling them down piece by piece. Team Cryptik have got to find big picks here if they want to look for conversion. There's still 53 seconds on the clock. This is very much still a possibility for them.
There's a Dragon Punch that could be used, and this would be about the time to use it if you're looking to get that advantage in the frontline battle. You see Hexafire was used, Bonkar finds one on the doesupz. Convergence could also be used if necessary, but it looks like that one pick was enough to keep Team Cryptik a little bit further on their heels. If Gankstars can play this defense a little carefully, they should be fine, but the seismic crash is going to come out. iDropBodies finds one in a Bonkar, and now the table may have just been enough to turn away for Cryptik to come back onto this payload.
The problem was that LAizy was also stunned by seismic crash, but had already activated Poppy Bomb, was able to get out of dodge. Now Evulli activating Dragon Punch, goes in, looking for damage onto somebody, anybody. They're going to try and take out LAizy. Whiffs it, goes straight into a wall, and the Bomb King main survives, but pulled in straight out of the air by iDropBodies, is dropped by Kusqt, and iDropBodies is able to survive momentarily, running for their life from Dyla, who's scouting around the outside of this fight, trying to find the kills which are necessary to stop this push. But in a lot of trouble now, doesupz has the number, but Dyla is too fast for them, reversals the entire salvo, stays alive momentarily, a Cursed Arm is ready, but Dread Serpent comes out, but restores soul, not enough to keep them alive. WarDoom keeps the push continuing, and convergence may be necessary to stall here.
But will it be enough? These are all the big bodies that you want if you're Team Cryptik. Bonkar does find 2 kills in the backline, though. It's really, really big to not have Kusqt here with this fight. That might just be enough to get them what they need to win this battle up front, but still, Inara is still alive and trying to keep himself there. Bird does survive, and the defense is successful as Dyler respawns and finds 2 more of those last 3 kills.
Really important for Bird there as well, with trusting their team to keep themselves alive with just 600 health left or so. One shot from Makoa would have shut them down, but is able to get off another Restore Soul channel, and then with their Veil card in their loadout, which is slightly just increasing the rate at which they enter Shadow Travel, still survive and contest with just 200 health remaining. Really important min-max play for the support and team captain of Gankstars here. Will it be enough, though, to drive them forwards, as we saw Team Cryptik dismantle them in the previous objective fight?
They have not looked very great in a lot of these team fights, just kind of holding on and getting the last couple picks, most notably because of Tyler. He's the one who's been finding these little advantages on the flanks, and it actually turns the tide into Gankstars' favor. We're getting towards the late part of the game where all this itemization starts to get to look more luxury-based. You see 4 rejuvenates from the side of Cryptik, and just the level 2 for Bonkar in that same category. 3% early on for Cryptik. They're taking the right side perspective, but Dyler finds the opening pick once again.
This is big, though, recognizing that doesupz was such a thorn on this side of Gankstars. Previously, he's able to get the elimination, and now LAizy has a free line of sight straight. The enemy back on his Bomb King throws out many sticky bombs, only finding a bit of damage, and seismic crash is used by Inara to try and turn the tables. Will it be enough?
Good pull back for iDropBodies, able to help convert onto Bonkar. The conversion is also being put, but the Dome Shield is also there, which will actually keep everybody just a little bit further away than what was necessary to combine both of those. And the kills come out for Cryptik, finding 3. It is just Saris left alive. Bird forced into that shadow travel and back towards base. So again, Cryptik finding the small advantages due to the mistakes of not properly combining ultimates for Gankstars, and they get up to 50% capture percentage of their own.
Not proper zoning either coming through from Gankstars. They were content to let their opponents sit round a corner and regen back to full health, leaving them open and vulnerable here. 84% to 63, contest is back. Ultimates, none available from Gankstars. They've also lost their Androxus. The fire spit pressure from Evulli is too much to deal with. LAizy goes in, tries to shut them down, but they immediately trade places. Overtime is ticking. Can anybody contest from Gankstars, or is this going to be a 3-2 already? So close, so far. Objective captured. Team Cryptik lead 3-2.
LAizy tried to give it a go at the end, just could not land himself on the point. And now the kills from Evulli, finding a double kill, chasing down a third. Dread Serpent in a really good spot. Evulli looking for that third, he will get it. Looking to possibly complete this as a full team wipe, as Dyler also falls in the back end right in front of his spawn. What a good push so far for Cryptik. That's a lot of free space for this payload to move.
Beautiful support play from Kusqt as well, positioning the Dread Serpent to drive a wedge between a team of Gankstars, forcing 2 towards Team Cryptik and 1 away, making sure that they weren't able to capitalize and make that ruckus repulsive field, which might have allowed them to sustain. Kusqt so far able to keep everybody alive in this fight, especially doesupz, who now has the opportunity to at least get out of dodge and then return the favor as LAizy sends themselves flying off the map.
This is not looking good for Gankstars. A lot of pressure. Evulli in the Dragon Punch, looking to convert. Somebody will find Thiel just before he can get back in. A minute 30 left. Convergence will come out. Shadow Travel in effect for Bird. Hexafire also in the backline. Bonkar finds one. Can he take down a second? He needs to get this Inara off the field, but she's just staying alive. Brilliant impasse, but Dyler with 3 huge kills.
Dyler coming up big in clutch moments throughout the duration of this game, and this time around on defense, it's enough to stall out Team Cryptik. But we're maybe 10% away from conversion at this point, and a win for Team Cryptik in game number 3, map 3 of Frog Isle, and there's 1 minute left on the clock. This push has gone by so fast, so quickly, and there's plenty of time left for Team Cryptik to try and reconvert again. Ultimates are being charged here, Shift. This could make or break Gankstars.
There's a lot of decisions that need to be made specifically for those ultimates. Do you just get everybody as close or up to 100% and then hold for the 3-3? Or do you try, if you're Cryptik, to push in one ultimate and see what else you can bait out? It will be the King Bomb coming out for LAizy, looking for a target, has his eyes on Cassie, and will find 2 with the stun, able to convert one of those kills. So that is a big ultimate off the table, but it's going to open the opportunity for the top damage dealer in the game of LAizy to continue to put the pressure on.
And now we need to see the stagger from Gankstars. They can't afford for Cryptik to regroup and push back in one final time. They also can't afford to keep on picking up frags or getting picked by themselves. It's so vulnerable, so risky right now for Gankstars to make one wrong move. And with LAizy being caught out of dodge with Poppy Bomb on cooldown, they are in so much trouble. Big reversal once again from Dyler, catches the entire salvo, but Dread Serpent keeps them on their toes, about to be shut down by Kusqt. This could be it for Gankstars.
Ancient Rage also used the Dome Shield right in the face of that, but no one really falling. There's a lot of ultimates expended from both sides, and it seems to be one person pulls the trigger, so did the rest. WarDoom does find a big kill into Thiel, but LAizy trades out with Evulli. The overtime is in effect, but iDropBodies and WarDoom are here. Convergence to come out, but a brilliant pull from iDropBodies, and he stays away from that conversion center.
Really important as well. Unable to get into Shadow Travel was Bird, so no free contest time. Hexafire though activated by Bonkar. Killing spree in Gankstars defense successfully. Too many players on too little health. That is enough just to turn the tide. We're all tied up at 3-3. This is neck and neck for Team Cryptik and Gankstars.
I like the play from Cryptik to go ult for ult. They use one, they see one. They use one, they see one. They have a Dragon Punch still on board, and they have been out-fragging these team fights on the central point. Even though the damage stats do favor Gankstars in total, the fact of the matter is the effective damage that is coming off from Cryptik is capitalizing in kills, because Kusqt is just healing so darn much.
And also, really importantly, I love the legendary choice this time around from Makoa for iDropBodies. Picking up a half shell, recognizes that Inara isn't the best at countering out a convergence, but really crucial play that can be used is jumping towards a convergence. We can see that Dome Shield placed over the top of the big pull. Out goes iDropBodies from the inside of the shield and protects everybody with a self-sacrificing play.
Oh, and Kusqt finds the opening kill on the Thiel, pulled into danger as well in that instance, and it will be Team Cryptik with the numbers advantage and the capture percentage in their favor. Bonkar is the next target, but Dyler takes out Evulli, but it's not going to make a difference in terms of Bonkar's life, as WarDoom able to find that Stone Spear to finish off the kill. 45% and counting for Cryptik. They have a little bit of a zone going here as iDropBodies is going to phase out this left-hand side and force everyone in towards the center part, where Evulli is going to be happy to accept him with salvos and Spitfires alike.
80% and climbing towards the objective. The team of Gankstars go. LAizy towards the back line of this fight, but it's 96% for Team Cryptik. It's trying to contest is Bonkar. They don't have the ultimate available. They cannot sustain through all of this damage. Barely trying to get onto the objective. They could be stunned out here. Able to pick up one kill on the doesupz. Kusqt swiftly answers back. It's up to LAizy to turn the tide. King Bomb is available. Overtime is ticking, but Gankstars have done it. They've recaptured for the time being, and they are holding strong. Dread Serpent used straight onto LAizy. The solo ultimate, but gets out with Poppy Bomb just in enough time. 30% and climbing for Gankstars, 99% for Team Cryptik. Neck and neck no longer. Team Cryptik only need 1 second on there to capture.
That's exactly why you use Grumpy Bomb to zone for yourself. And that stun actually hit iDropBodies, so there was not enough damage to convert LAizy's life. Kusqt though stayed alive, which is also big, and doesupz to the kill on Dyler. Overtime again continues to go back and forth, but another pull from iDropBodies. Can he stay alive is the question. Kusqt trying to frag out. WarDoom is also here, and it will be enough. Convergence coming through, but everyone's gonna split off the point. Bird is one of the last ones left, and it will be Cryptik expiring the overtime and finding themselves the win.
So close right there, and so close to a Dome Shield as well. Was Barrack on the objective, but wasn't able to charge in enough time. Team Cryptik claim victory in game number 3, and as we said, the immortal juggernauts of this European squad looking less and less immortal as time goes by.
Yeah, a really big key, of course, with after the first two. it was just a best of 5. So now they are up in that instance, 2-1 on maps. That's exactly where Cryptik wants to be. Again, this is really good for them simply because they have not found a lot of success versus this same roster in the past. And when you take a look at, again, objective time is what won games yesterday for QG. It continues to be a factor here. 232 total points into objective time for WarDoom. Only dies 8 times. Kusqt at 7. Bird at 6. Those are the exact targets you want to see with low death numbers, and that's exactly what we're seeing here. 2 good teams really laying it all on the line.
Kusqt also at 203,990 healing.
Good grief.
It was really good combinations of just waiting to ensure that WarDoom was communicating when Earthen Guard is available, rocking that Mother's Grace legendary, making sure that they could gain additional healing. It's one Gord goes down, mending spirits a couple of times, boom, Inara's back up at full health. No contest can come through there, and Kus just doing such a good job at keeping their team in the game. Highest credits, massive amounts of assists, also knows exactly when to use Dread Serpent as well on this champion Maldamba to just carve apart the enemy teams.
Well, without a doubt. I mean, again, we heard the stats earlier with his averages being above 150,000 just from yesterday alone. That will sure boost it up as he gets above almost 204,000 healing. That's just an absolutely monstrous number. And when you take a look at these fights and say, why is it that Cryptik is still continuing to find a way to win, even though Dyler's getting these 3 kills, these 4 kills? It's the simple fact that Kusqt is just pocket healing his frontliners and staying alive by using nice slithers and using the environment to his advantage.
It's Kusqt and it's WarDoom who just stay alive throughout all of that, and they buy the time for the respawns to rejoin. If we see Gankstars invest ultimates to pick up maybe 3 members of the team, but not 4 or 5, then we end up with this deficit. Now we have the respawns from Team Cryptik, the ultimate advantage goes through to the red team, and they just get swept aside. Gankstars need to find some way of dealing with supports, just as Team Cryptik did in map number 2 on Timber Mill. Is Evie going to be the solution? We'll have to see if she's map appropriate.
We haven't seen a lot of flanks, just really, period, from Gankstars in the last couple of days, and they will be going to Brightmarsh, which is actually what we assume to be more of a North American-based map. They have a lot more experience playing it. We have not seen a lot of Gankstars on this particular environment in the realm. What are they going to be able to bring to it? It's very close quarters. We talk about this and how it can be very central focus when it comes down to either a capture point or the payload path.
It's so tricky. After watching console yesterday, all I can think in my mind is acrobatics pip, acrobatics pip, but with aimers of the caliber of maybe iDropBodies on doesupz. That's maybe a more vulnerable pick on PC than it is on console. So what can we do to continue to put pressure on supports? Mobility is king in that regard, at least. Evie worked out very, very well for Team Cryptik in map number 2, and there are at least 2 top-tier Evie players on Gankstars, but typically this isn't a champion which fits into their draft very well. They often play more reserved, more from the backline, less of the dive composition, more of the reactive composition, and in order to do so, I have to ask, they're a top-tier team, they're a very high-caliber team, but can they adapt to a completely different style of play overnight?
That's something that we have not seen Gankstars do over the course of the last few lanes.
They just play their game.
Exactly.
They play their game and they force other people to their tune, but when Team Cryptik won't dance to it, it's a very difficult question.
Without a doubt, and we're going to see if that is possible. They're throwing a map that they're not traditionally used to playing, or at least that we've seen them play. Maybe as we jump into draft, they might throw something else out of the bag of tricks, and we'll see how deep the rabbit hole might go for Gankstars if they continue to try to push into what is this normal frontline pressure they like, to going for something different. Drogos is a very different pick for them off the bat.
First pick Drogos. Take that away from Evulli, they say. Doesn't matter if it goes to LAizy, it doesn't matter if it goes to Bird. They could probably give it to Dyler at this point. Just don't give it to Evulli. But Makoa and maybe the Bomb King might be responded by Team Cryptik, but no, they draft double frontliner, and Ruckus being heavily favored by Gankstars in the last 3 games. This makes me wonder, what will Gankstars go with so far? Not fabled for their Inara play, to say the least.
No, yeah, exactly the case. But the Drogos pick, you know, it does make sense. It does have a winning record from yesterday, sitting at 8-5. The real key becomes, do you continue to let Kusqt get the Damba? I mean, he's been just so flawless in the execution of using that character in all of its kit. I mean, that's something I feel like you have to make a priority, force him to heal in a different way. Not the case there is they get a very early Cassie, which again, we've seen Dyler play very well, and Barrick as well continues to be a priority for the side of Gankstars.
So at least getting some sort of frontline online. They don't want it to be stripped by Team Cryptik, who may invest into a triple frontline role, but this allows Bomb King and Maldamba to go through for Team Cryptik.
Wow.
This draft is going entirely to the North American squad. They seem to have everything they want.
Yeah, I'm confused. Maybe we'll see some last 2 picks that might counter this out. Ashe, I was going to say, was a big factor for them yesterday, and they will have to get a support, so naturally it is Saris. So I'm kind of wondering, obviously they're putting priority in getting the damage dealers they want, rather than getting the frontliners that they want. That's the big mindset change as we look at this draft in particular compared to what they've done over the course of the last day, and we'll just say a half now, just to kind of round things up. Cryptik, though, has an opportunity to respond with a number of different things. They could go with an Androxus. They've had a good time doing it, or they could pick up, I would say, a triple frontline would not be bad against this, considering the fact that Drogus is going to have a hard time getting himself as an impact player into the central atrium point.
They're going to be struggling to be able to have an impact, as you said, on Brightmarsh. They're going to be throwing rockets in from outside, and with triple frontliner, with Makoa's Shell Shield and Inara's Impasse, you can block off 2 of the 3 primary entryways in towards that objective very, very easily, limiting Drogos to how effective they can be. Sure, you've got to watch out for the odd fire spit as well, but after Inara's impact in the previous game, certainly a champion which I think will see a lot of value for Team Cryptik here in this map. Gankstars, well, they're fighting the uphill battle for the first time in a long time. It feels like the tempo is not in their favor, and the tune is very much not theirs. Team Cryptik this time around are playing them like a fiddle, and I do have to wonder if potentially this does raise the possibility of seeing Europe taken out so early in tournaments, which is very uncharacteristic.
It's a very bold statement, Fox.
We might just see it. Team Cryptik look confident.
And this is, I think this is the right time if you're Team Cryptik to try something different, to go with 3 frontliners. You're halfway through the set, you have a map advantage, you're on a map that you feel good on, and we've seen, of course, WarDoom playing Inara on this map is so good at getting those impasses there, and when you put iDropBodies and doesupz between the combination of the Ruckus and, of course, the Makoa, things could get very dangerous very quick. Of course, as we take the overhead and the drive-by of this map, you see a lot of these tight corridors where, again, that impasse can be super impactful, and it can really devastate the momentum of a team getting some pressure.
I'm just wondering about drive-by. You have a flying car?
Well,
yeah, boom.
Not
it's
yet.
2017, not yet.
2017.
No, but straight towards the objective. That is a very, very fast Ash. Master Riding maybe picked up for Thiel here as they go straight towards the enemy backline. Could be dangerous, not spotted out. Low health Bomb King, kinetic burst already charged, sends them flying. Bomb King able to escape, however, and Thiel, if they can't capitalize on the kill here, this could be bad for Gankstars. First blood, though, goes through to LAizy on Drogos, and Thiel, no escape for you there. Battering Ram Ash will keep them alive for a second longer, but good body block from Inara will keep them locked down.
Without a doubt, and it's going to come down to doesupz on Ruckus and, of course, WarDoom to try to get themselves back established on point. No support here to help out at the moment. You can see the board's just being tossed over the hill as Kusqt was very low and is finally getting himself back to point. Gankstars, though, do control the point, but now they're backing up. You see the impasse wall almost actually blocks off Inara, and Thiel is trying to get his pressure from the outside portion of the map, which is not where he wants to be.
Able to do so for a brief amount of time, but must retreat and refocus their attention to the backline here. Throws Makoa straight towards Gankstars, but does fall. It's up to Evulli now on Bomb King to try and return the favor. They're sitting out of combat, regenerating as Kusqt with Mending Spirits is keeping them all topped up. The red team is still leading the charge so far. Poked out very heavily now is Bomb King, 58 health remaining, but staying alive momentarily, about to be shut down by Bonkar. But this is buying time on the objective capture, distracting one of the Gankstars frontrunners to allow Team Cryptik to continue with their dominance.
Yeah, but they are very low on HP. Kusqt is doing everything he can to get one back around. Seismic Crash is going to come out for Cryptik. It will find a couple of stuns onto point, one of them being Dialer, but no kills converted, and actually LAizy turns this around on the Team Cryptik, finding iDropBodies and WarDoom. So the Makoa and the Inara dropping to that big projectile weapon from Drogos, and now with the flank exposed, LAizy could be very dangerous here.
The problem is as well, with LAizy able as Drogos to charge their ultimate relatively quickly, Team Cryptik had to win this objective fast before that frontline shutdown came online, and LAizy even pulled in with Wormjets as their legendary is so mobile that they're able to escape the fight and continue to drop damage onto WarDoom's Inara. Brought down to half HP, in a lot of trouble here. Earthen Guard keeping them alive for the time being. LAizy might have just overextended, but is able to pick up the fadeaway fire spit over the top to shut down the Stone Warden.
Oh my God, just call him Steph Curry with that fadeaway jumper as he moves through. And of course, the payload is starting to move down this S-turn, and Thiel is right here happy to push anybody else away just to keep this moving in the right direction. And if you're Team Cryptik, you're doing the right thing by setting up a little more passively, try to get a pull, try to get a pick, use those sticky bombs just to try to get a little bit of damage done, open the door a little bit, but they're actually the ones who are falling low on health, and Bonkar's actually forcing himself towards the left. Thiel finds the kill right up front, and the Assert Dominance coming in for Thiel will help get more damage done. The Hexafire is there, but the Dome Shield to counter everything out. It's ultimate for ultimate, and it favors Gankstars.
Very good use just to counter Hexafire early, but too little too late. That ultimate was already spent. Up goes Evulli, down goes Evulli as Thiel sends them crashing back to base, but the respawns are good enough for Team Cryptik for the time being. Good impassable cuts off Bonkar, shuts down the flank barrack, and this ex-substitute for Gankstars playing barrack, as we said, like a ground-based buck here, where you can take the frag, or you can take the champion off the fraggers, off the flankers, but you can't take the frag at the front line main now.
Without a doubt, and now you can see Dyler with that no damage fall up is going to be able to sit here and just poke away, try to find some line of sight angles while his rest of his team gets back up towards the fight. They still have plenty of time. 50 seconds convergence would be a very big ultimate if it can convert on at least 2 players. If it finds 3, we're talking danger. There it comes. It will, in fact, just find 2 as Seismic Crash is also channeled in counter to that. A big pushback on the Ancient Rage. Makoa will actually force him into Bird's neighborhood, and he says, we don't want any of that. Real estate's too high where I'm from, and 30 seconds left. Team Cryptik's looking solid on defense.
But still down 1 member as Dada was able to clean up a kill on the iDropBodies. doesupz though takes out LAizy, and LAizy's been the impact player for Gankstars so far. Not looking good for the team in blue as they're trying to keep this push continuing. They have managed to bring down a few players to low HP. They're getting poked out quite equally, and WarDoom slays Dyler. This is bad for Gankstars. They must regroup and reconverge, or even just try and save themselves at some point. Don't give the enemy team any more, but Bonkar dives straight into contest and only has Ash for backup.
Yeah, but the thing is, there is no support really there as Kusqt is falling very low. He's getting himself poked up and around, but the slither around the corner will keep him out of that cannon range from Thiel. Very good play, but you can see the commit is on for Gankstars. Dreads are being used just to keep everybody away, but Kusqt does drop the Thiel. A big pickup. If Sarahs can get back to this fight, it would be really big. The Dragon Punch coming out for LAizy, looking for a target, but the Aerial Assault might just be hidden up in a swing and a miss.
But the Firespin follow-up hits 4, reset with Masterful and fired out again. It just doesn't matter though. Even expending ultimates at the end there, Team Cryptik are able to defend 2 for Evulli. iDropBodies with 1 final 1 and Hexafire used. It was very close and a good effort actually for Gankstars to continue the push, something which I was very much surprised at. But they burnt Assert Dominance, and they weren't able to capitalize on that. Even though they pulled the Hexafire, that's very important for them, just to sustain versus triple tank.
Yeah, and the Dragon Punch is not on as well. That's, again, echoing that point.
Okay, you reserve a little bit of your ultimate charge if you intentionally don't hit, or if you lazy ult.
But the potential of them winning this next team fight becomes that much lower. That opportunity to use that and eliminate a tank immediately is off the table.
Right, they're going to have to wait until later to be able to charge it back up. And all the meantime, Team Cryptik can get straight towards the objective, mitigate damage with Repulsor Field and Earthen Guard, and sit behind Shell Shield very safely. Early salvo thrown out by LAizy so far. Itemization very even between these 2 teams. This far forward into the game tied up at 1v1, but Hexafire used now actually in the back line doesn't find any kills. Evulli only the first player to pick up any kind of blood in this engagement.
Evulli using that King Bomb to capitalize on killing Kusqt. Actually will secure Thiel, who was falling low right around the point. 24% and now counting up for Team Cryptik. They don't have much as far as ultimates go. It's going to be up to Gankstars to move themselves back in. That Dragon Punch is about to be available. Dome Shield and Conversion Scout being used as well, just to try to get a lay of the land of what's going to happen in these last handful of percentages as Cryptik continues to control the point. LAizy's looking on the outside for kills in the back line. What's happening up front? We're not seeing much as far as Gankstars able to get there. LAizy trying to open the door from behind.
And he's going around looking for a pick, finds the ruckus. This time doesupz goes down, and Gankstars have opened the door. Convergence pulls in too. The Rensol won't pick up a further kill on the backside of that, but still LAizy is alive and fragging, looking for the damage, being healed up, a Restore Soul, and dropping massive Wrecker buff shots onto the enemy's shields. Good work for Gankstars to retake. They do have Assert Dominance ready as well to contest if necessary.
But there is an Ancient Rage and a Dread Serpent. Both of those can be very dangerous for Cryptik, but you can see Gankstars is forcing themselves more forward than they have played as of yet. Ancient Rage will force right back the Makoa onto point, looking for kills. WarDoom finds 1 on the Thiel, but again, very low as iDropBodies as Dyler finds that last kill. LAizy still trying to find the focus onto the support and the front line of WarDoom, but not able to find a lot of damage as of yet. It's Bonkar who's actually established himself right on this dock side, right side of the border we're looking at the moment. Bird on top of the point, able to find a lot of stacks on the Rensol, but is stunned out and will fall. Overtime out of effect, 99%, and Cryptik has numbers.
Only Dyler has Scout available. Cryptik sitting on the objective, a very healthy CC immune is Dyler. Can they pull off the impossible? Grumpy Bomb goes down, back they roll, but in doing so, they leave themselves open to be blocked off by Impasse. Team Cryptik gain the second capture of this game, and even though Dyler survives, It's the objective pressure that counts.
Yeah, and it's Evulli who's making that pressure actually convert into kills at the moment. He found himself 2 at low health targets just to make sure their front line won the fight. And that's exactly what Gankstars was not doing on Timber Mill with their Bomb King and the 3 tank. That was not using what LAizy was playing on the Bomb King to open up that advantage up front. Evulli's doing a much better job of knowing where the pros of his team comp is and how he can best affect that to make it a big advantage.
And comboing very well with WarDoom's impasse all the while, just ensuring that if a King Bomb is there, forcing enemies to flee, they have nowhere to run because their avenue of exit is cut off. Out comes Convergence, once again avoided narrowly by Kusqt with Slither. Down goes the Dread Serpent as well. Very reactive play to be able to take down Bonkar. 3 members of Gankstars fall in an instant. Team Cryptik surge forwards.
This is exactly what you want to. Even though you drop Evulli, you have 3 frontliners and a support, which is going to open this payload up for a lot of travel potential. Get your bus tickets. It's going out of the station and moving towards the finish line very, very quickly. Evulli now getting back towards the fight. You see him mounted up just behind a big stun on the LAizy. It will be Evulli coming in and converting on Kusqt's clutch stun. And now with numbers and an advantage, Team Cryptik can very well make this a 2-point differential.
And again, beautiful pass from WarDoom. Cuts off Cauterize, allows for the sustain to come through, but Kusqt is poked out as the rest of the team. And Team Cryptik are in a lot of trouble here as from behind is Dialer. Hyper mobile on Cassie. Gets shut down by Evulli. LAizy takes over, fires off a massive salvo. Double kill immediately. Looks for the triple kill. Emitter keeps Ruckus safe, but triple kill comes from the fadeaway fire spit yet again. Will they find the quadra kill? Kusqt so low. Quadra kill for LAizy. Only 1 remains. Will they use their Dragon Punch? I think it's not even necessary. The Makoa left out to dry here by the rest of their team. 4 kills is enough. LAizy will take that and simply send back to base.
Collective sigh from the audience saying, use the ult, just get the penta. Not needed though, as you mentioned, just keep it, save it if you absolutely need to defend here, but again, LAizy coming up clutch, and WarDoom, although is finding a kill.
Oh,
nice
beautiful!
Again. Assert dominance canceled out midair, and Thiel just scratched his head saying, well, what do you do about that? 19 seconds and counting down as we get closer and closer to overtime. Numbers again favoring Cryptik. Is it going to have to be LAizy again? But no, he's shut down from getting the Dragon Punch off.
Now that's LAizy ult. Charging it right in front of Ruckus where they have the perfect angle to get headshots on you. Very, very dangerous. Down goes the damage. Out comes the Dread Serpent as well to just keep everybody locked in. Perfect performance from Team Cryptik so far. A little wink from Evulli there as well, and they're looking very confident here in this map.
This is the problem, I think, of having just a Barrack and an Ashe against the 3 frontliners, because Ashe is having a very difficult time getting through the shields and getting the displacement that she's so good at done. It's just not happening. And on the same side, Barrack's not able to get his turret set up. They're just not having the pressure that I think they need in this 3-tank meta that we're seeing come out of Team Cryptik. They're playing it very well, to be completely honest with you. This is exactly what you want to see. If you're going to run 3 tanks back at your scrims at home, find a way to get Evulli and Kusqt on your team, because the damage that Evulli is putting out by himself and the healing that Kusqt is putting out is just miraculous.
It's not the tactics, it's just the players. Well,
yeah.
Might be the itemization, as we do see on your screen. Some resilience is now picked up by Gankstars, valuing the just the ability to get out of crowd control faster versus Evulli, who's been very much the impact play, as you said, getting the flag specifically for Team Cryptik so far, but now it's all about doesupz. Hexafire on top of the impasse wall, perfectly positioned. Can they capitalize on any more?
Big convergence came out, but again, not a lot of damage follow-up. Thiel only finds 1. It is Evulli. Again, that's not the worst situation for Cryptik. They have their support. They have 2 of their frontliners. LAizy's going to try to change that, though, and will take out doesupz right in front of the entry to this atrium, but still 33% for Cryptik. They are falling back, though. Numbers are not in their favor, and if LAizy can find WarDoom, this would be a really big pick.
Right, but WarDoom just doesn't die at the moment. Kusqt keeps him alive too well, and whilst we've seen Dragon Punch successfully find again and again doesupz on Ruckus, I feel like that would be so more valuable being able to take out the Stone Warden, who is so survivable. Comparatively, Ruckus, at least their emitter can be broken down. It is a shield, it's not just pure damage reduction. And Kusqt again helps their team dive on in as Dome Shield has expired, continues to fire shots. The Dread Serpent onto Ashe, goes for the 1v1, but resilience is here and Thiel turns the tide.
Mistake by Kusqt. He should have realized that resilience there was kind of the same trigger discipline that he's had throughout most of the game when there is not resilience. So that made sense for him there as far as his habits go. But again, the resilience pickup absolutely being crucial to mitigate out the duration of those crowd controls. And now it is actually Gankstars with the comeback mechanic who find themselves a point, only down 1, and they have a lot of pressure. Dialer is going off, finding 1 kill. LAizy channeling his ultimate right in front of iDropBodies, who will drop down. The Makoa falls and back up into the the air in this little potion shop. Does go LAizy just to survive away from Kusqt, who's so dangerous with his fake master.
But is able to survive, and this is crucial. Gets restored up to full and doesn't fall in the process. A very good play from Gankstars. Slippery and risky, but still something that paid off. I love the fact that Evulli is trying to keep Bonkar trapped in that room. That can't last forever. You've got to refocus your damage there at some point and detonate. And Gankstars have made it 2/3 the way of the conversion already.
Nothing, no. Absolutely no damage whatsoever. But Thiel sees an opening and moves right on through into the back line, allowing Bonkar to come up with him. This is big. Kusqt right in the face of the blunderbuss, takes all those pellets, and Evulli able to trade him out, but still falling very low is the rest of Team Cryptik without their healer.
Nobody expects the flank barrack. I'm telling you now, new meta, summer of 2017. 20,000? I'm getting ahead of myself there. But Perch is pushing this payload through. It could be all tied up here. Gankstars close to conversion. Oh, big stun. Shuts down the Shadow Travel, even with Bird's high tier Veil card available, but able to get out of combat at least now and regenerate, wait for the rest of their team. Gankstars are on the cusp of conversion with 1 minute and 7 seconds left. So far, they're playing just extraordinarily well.
If you're Gankstars right now, looking at the fact they have no ultimates available, but they have a lot of time to play with, and the payload is right there, get your ultimate stacked up and get yourself this point. Go to 3-3. Don't be down 3-2 going into the next point. They haven't done well in the capture points as of yet, but Dyler is actually changing this around. There's 3 picks, no ultimates needed. This is exactly what you want if you're a Gankstars fan. They can get their capture percentage even closer to getting the payload near that point, but still, it's iDropBodies not able to get himself back. WarDoom falls, Dyler finds himself too, and once again coming up clutch is the sub, getting 3 kills in total and actually mimicking that number in kills on the scoreboard. We see 3-3.
So yesterday was the warm-up right for Dyler, getting the Cassie aim down to precision. I mean, you've got to bear in mind that whilst Dyler might not be new to LANs, this is a different environment, a team which they have subbed for before, but not in a LAN environment, and playing in a situation which is unfamiliar to them. It's going to take a while to get online, but certainly seems to be the case now. Multiple multi-kills, and often solo kills involved in those as well, not necessarily relying on the team to be able to follow up on their own personal damage from Cassie. Definitely somebody that needs to be dealt with by Team Cryptik, as you remarked, all tied up 3-3 with ultimates online for both squads now. This is dangerous for either side.
Yeah, and we're in the very late game again. This is just all luxury items getting with leveled up. Resilience level 3 for just about everybody is really key for Gankstars. If they can find a way to break down these shields and stay away from crowd control, be big. Dyler opens up with a nice dodge roll kill. LAizy with another. That's a frontliner and damage dealer down. WarDoom is in a bad position as well. He's the next focus target. The dodge roll's coming out and being reset with the impasse wall just to kind of block it away, but everyone's sniffing out for the Stone Warden, and she does fall. Dread Serpent once again being used, but again, the resilience keeps it from being effective.
It just doesn't matter if your stun only lasts for a fraction of the time it normally does, and now forcing out beautiful dome shield positioning and traps immediately. The Hexafire forced off the edge of the map. iDropBodies is killed mid-air with Ancient Rage activating. Grumpy Bomb provides some zone for Thiel, but they are able to stall out. Charges in with Shoulder Bash with the damage reduction active straight into a King Bomb, saving their team's life, and Gankstars claim victory.
Ash just battering ram charge into an ultimate to make sure it triggered on only her. Are you kidding me? Thiel, stop doing this. This is next level gameplay. It's changing the way Ash is forever going to be looked at. Jumping in and actually not only surviving, but getting the kill as well. That's a really big counterplay. And the boys from Gankstars just narrowly hold on to that man right there with the big quadra kill. Wish it was a Penna, but still.
So close, so close. And we haven't seen players do that before, but LAizy, a knowledgeable enough player at this tier of gameplay to recognize that holding their ultimate, the more valuable decision to do. These players aren't here for glory. This is the semifinals, and LAizy, certainly not very much so. You can see their slash line here. 16, 7, and 21. 170,000 damage as Wormjet's Drogos.
These numbers are
How do you spell
so
nerf?
Massive. All these numbers are just absolutely incredible. 241,000 and a half healing for Kusqt. It's just absolutely ridiculous to see these characters and these champions being played at such a high level. I don't think we've ever seen numbers this big. And again, both of these teams are really battling it out to the top level that we've ever seen competitive Paladins. We go in to what would be map number 5, 2-2, and this series could not be more even.
All tied up. At last, you know, I'm thrilled to see this. I might be European, but I'm thrilled to see North America finally come out of play and put up an amazing fight. And so far, Team Cryptik as well as Gankstars have met their match in different maps. LAizy up on your screen right now once again ran Wormjet's Drogos in that previous game. 37 37 eliminations. Certainly not something to be sneezed at there.
No way.
So much damage.
I mean, that's just an incredible gameplay. And again, he's been on his game the last handful of weeks. I know a lot of people continue to say LAizy ults, but he's rarely missed in the last couple of weeks specifically.
He's been dialing those in.
He has been absolutely.
Do you think he's been getting some coaching behind the scenes and somebody like, look, you press E now. You press E now. Not now, now. And I feel like maybe with the upcoming Bomb King changes as well, which are now live in OB54, as of course, folks, we are on OB52 for this land, and we might be seeing fewer LAizy ults than previously.
Maybe he's doing the same thing Thiel's doing, where every time he misses an ultimate, he pays a quarter or whatever it was.
It's like 10 cents to bird or something.
10 cents to bird.
I want to know the total at this point for the money pot that is actually going through the bird right now. That's going to be quite an impressive value. A few rounds here in Valencia after all the games are finished, but for the time being, it is just strictly business, or will be later. That is one of the Xbox teams which will be competing at the end of today. For the time being, we will be going to a short break whilst we do give the players some brief respite. 4 games in, and we're all tied up. Shift a best of 7 down to a best of 3, and I can't wait to see how this set concludes. Join us then in just a few minutes. Stay tuned and don't go anywhere as we conclude Gankstars versus Team Cryptik to find out whether Europe or North America will be advancing through to the Summer Premier Finals. Welcome back then, champions, to day 2 of the Paladins Summer Premier here at Dreamhack Valencia in Spain. It is, of course, the year of 2017. My name is Hi-Rez. I'm joined by iHoldShift. How long can we make this introduction? I think a few more words every single time is what we ran with during the console qualifiers, and just continuing that trend here, actually out in Spain at LAN itself. And my goodness, this set so far, we've been watching Gankstars, the #1 seed in this tournament, versus Team Cryptik, the #1 North American squad, facing up against each other on the top side of the bracket, and it's all tied up at 2-2.
I mean, this has been a tournament full of surprise. I mean, it started off with, of course,
it's the fifth element.
It's the fifth element, yeah.
Water, earth, fire, surprise. Surprise.
So you can color me surprised.
Yes,
it's none of these colors.
Is it purple?
It's usually purple.
Greenish purple, the color of magic. No, folks, it has been an absolute just journey of not just upsets necessarily, but also, as we said, surprise and maybe uncertainty for some teams that have maybe been not necessarily resting on their laurels for too long, but unwilling to adapt or failing to see a necessity to adapt, and then other teams who have chosen to embrace that. And the real just throwback yesterday was, of course, QG versus, of course, District 69, but this time around, Team Cryptik have been putting up a very dangerous fight versus Gankstars, and we are now ready to continue with map number 5.
Yeah, and again, this is going to be interesting to see as we go to what is now just essentially a best of 3. How do these teams decide to play? I mean, we've seen something, and again, as I mentioned, Cryptik coming out with that 3-tank meta was, I think, a very smart choice for them, just simply because it is something just a little bit off-kilter. Really, that game was won by resilience at the end of things.
Very
Red
much
Serpents
so.
and seismic crashes that were usually used in reactionary fashion for Cryptik were just simply not effective at the end of the day. But what else could possibly come out? Again, we've seen a couple instances. Obviously, QG offered some kind of advice as far as what could break up the normal traditional 10 champions we've seen, but also Nocturnes brought up the Kinessa and the Lex throughout, which were successful against Kanga early on, did not find a way to get their own resilience all the way through. And as we jump into map number 5, which appears to be on Stone Keep, the draft will favor the first pick overall towards Team Cryptik.
And Team Cryptik going to be starting things off here. Ruckus heavily contested for the first pick in most of the games throughout this tournament so far. Likely to be that again. But do Cryptik want to give it up? Have they found the answer? Have they found the Achilles heel of the mechanical monster? No, it will be Ruckus picked up first for Cryptik. Gankstars now have the opportunity to answer back. And they've remarked on how much they like stripping away Bomb King and Drogos from the side of Team Cryptik. Now, they were at great danger of losing potentially to a triple tank lineup, but would it be sufficient to say that Bomb King and Drogos early on in the draft you take together? Or, as we see on screen, the Makoa still highly valued by Gankstars?
Yeah, this is interesting because the last draft they had with having the Drogos early, but they also brought forward a very early Cassie, it makes me wonder if they didn't feel that the damage was drastic enough to merit going with both of those picks to start. Makoa obviously very safe. Thiel is very veteran on that champion. of course, throughout the history, but specifically in the time since the Masters line, he's played a lot of Makoa and continues to be one of the best in the world at that such character. And Droxus is picked up very early for Cryptik, just again to counter out the Drogos. And Maldamba, once again, you really cannot deny Kusqt as Damba.
And Cryptik keep on getting Maldamba time and time again. I do want to see what happens eventually if that is stripped away. But Gankstars, this time around, drafting Inara. Not a champion we usually associate with Stonekeep alongside Cassie, but she can be very effective at just staying alive and buying time. Similar to Ashe in that regard, but without the necessity of her ultimate as Mother's Grace, when combined with what's likely to be a Ceres last pick here, is going to be very valuable. And that actually remarks us to a very interesting point. The third pick support from Team Cryptik allows Gankstars to say, okay, we can either prioritize the support here and leave ourselves open for last pick, counter pick, or we can just get our value picks online. So doing so, Inara and Cassie, Cryptik respond with Bomb King and Barik. Gankstars' last pick here likely to be the Ceres, and indeed it is.
Yeah, the Ceres and Inara makes sense. I mean, essentially, I think this is Gankstars saying we don't want you to have that big health pool.
Yes.
I mean, they have been playing a lot of Barik lately, but let's see what happens when we have the Inara Makoa with a Ceres to pocket heal and how well you sustain two of the lower health pool frontliners with just the Maldamba going with the Ruckus and the Barik. This is a very interesting draft. It's going to force Cryptik to play a little differently. They're not going to get as aggressive, I don't think, as they have been in the previous games.
No.
So it's going to force them to really get themselves set up and find and pick and choose what areas of the map they want to have team fights on. And really, if Gankstars can get this Drogos going and this Cassie flanking, I think they're going to have a good chance of really manipulating the map more than Cryptik will.
And they're going to have to be able to do so. But interestingly enough, Cryptik, in their success previously, you remarked on Maldamba and Nara for them in previous games. That's been a very strong point of success because Gord can go down behind an impasse wall, which won't be broken by the common offensive itemization of Wrecker. And therefore, that cauterized barrier, effectively is what it becomes, sustains for much, much longer than just a barricade would be. More easily broken down is Barrick's barricade. Ruckus doesn't have a shield which can protect allies, and therefore Gord comparatively will be much less effective than we have seen Kusqt able to utilize it previously. I'm interested to see how Cryptik adapt to that on the fly.
Yeah, you bring up all very solid points, and it's really going to rely on Kusqt to make sure he's hitting these Mending Spirits, that right-click ability. And as we take a look at Stonekeep, of course, there are areas that are inside these inner cathedral keep areas that are very close quarters, so a Gord really can be effective. He likes to use the Ripen Gord, so that slow could also be very devastating, but it's really going to come down to who's going to put pressure on this guy right here. LAizy on Drogos is going to have a very safe but an impactful game, especially with how well iDropBodies was previously playing on Androxus. It's going to be interesting to see what the impact he has this year.
Immediate salvo, love the positioning of that, up and down, drops damage over the barricade and straight onto the turret set up by Barik, but Evulli picks up first blood, sitting inside this edge of the keep. Fire Spit brings them very, very low, and LAizy goes for the chase, but might have left Bird out to dry here as Gankstars are forced to retreat. Bird will be safe for the time being, able to keep their team alive, but as Evulli finds Bonkar, finds Bird as well, and looks for more. No sign of slowing down. Team Cryptik have all the momentum.
That was just beautiful positioning by that guy who just got hooked. iDropBodies taking the fight prospectively left and actually forced Ceres into that shadow travel and away from Inara. That's the big key. If they can continue to keep doing that, Inara's going to be very vulnerable. She needs heals to stay impactful on the point.
They do indeed, but for the time being, Evulli has gone down last. Thiel able to find the nice drop shot off the stairs down onto them. iDropBodies looks for LAizy and picks up the kill, and you can see the look of despair as LAizy clutched to their headphones there in the player cam, being forced away, and iDropBodies now with reversal tries to land some damage on the stairs, able to get the flick shots off onto them, forcing shadow travel. Overtime is ticking. Team Cryptik capture the first objective of the game in 2 minutes flat. Gankstars, no contest coming through from them, despite their tanky lineup, seem to have found themselves beat initially.
That's the continual pressure onto Ceres. They're doing a much better job of finding where she's positioned and trying to find a safe way to push her away from the frontliners of Gankstars. If that continues to happen, this might look very dominating for Cryptik. The kills are coming out now for Dialer and Bonkar, finding 2 just for the 1, and things are going to open up for LAizy as well. But again, if they can continue to find pressure on Ceres, does Cryptik, they'll find a way to continue to win these fights up front.
You have to be very careful now as well. As you remarked, more pressure on the Ceres means less healing overall, as Ceres is forced to try and self-sustain. Death away to all, says iDropBodies, though, as Androxus finds just LAizy with a cursed arm, but that might have been the kill they needed. to open this payload push up. Into the backline goes Evulli, looks for the damage impasse, blocks off something, but still CC'd is Inara, and Bird is retreating here so far backwards, scared of what is to come, and may be forced to fall back into base if Evulli can find pressure, and all the while, as Hexafire is activated, the payload continues to move, and Team Cryptik continue to advance.
And the health pools are actually favoring the side of Team Cryptik in this fight. You see Bonkar just way out of position. He's able to trade away Evulli, but still, the fact that the Inara is not on the table is huge. Bird is playing very passively, as he should be, right near the spawn. If he needs to get those heals, he can just go right back into that area, get himself healed up, and come right back out. But iDropBodies is taking this fight and doing a really good job of hitting these shots airborne against the Drogos, but will he be able to stay alive? The reversal is just not enough as Dialer converts the kill. 53 seconds until overtime, and Cryptik is staggering just slightly backwards.
Shots coming down from LAizy now as well, who was able to stay alive because no cauterize being applied by iDropBodies whilst they had the reversal hands up means that they are able to sustain thanks to the restore soul from Ceres. All the while though, chasing very aggressively now, tries to find the frags onto WarDoom and Kusqt, has to be careful here not to get picked on their own. He's able to do a lot of chip damage with Fire Spit, but Dread Serpent comes down in response to LAizy, forced back. No kills actually achieved from the back of that ultimate, but it allows Cryptik to stabilize with a forward advantage here and not be sent back to base staggered.
Yeah, that positioning and just the ability to stay as 5 is really big, so even though there were not a lot of kills coming off the effectiveness of that Dread Serpent, the positioning is keep Thiel almost trying to throw off the map the barrack, but not able to find it as that little bit of rocket boost was enough momentum to get through. Hexafire right in the face, doesupz finds 2, looking for possibly the 3rd, and that will be Bonkar falling. Bird is forced to come down off his high ground. WarDoom able to convert on Dialer, and it's just up to Bird to stay alive. Finally, it is Bonkar trying to get back, or pardon me, it's Thiel coming back, but falls very, very quickly. The Gord on top of point is slowing everybody down who tries to contest, and overtime's getting away, and it will be Cryptik with the 2-0 push.
I'm not really sure there if LAizy wanted to give that one up, thrusting up into disguise to not contest. Of course, Inara was very close by, but at that point in the game, with 4 members of Cryptik and then the respawns being 6+ seconds away, a very uphill battle, and no ultimate like Ash's assert dominance to try and keep the team sustained through that. Not something which I could see Gankstars coming out on the upside of, to say the least, and looking at least focused there, but relatively relaxed compared to how we have seen before. Kusqt with a bandana on as well, showing that the focus is out in full effect, is ready for Team Cryptik to advance, and Gankstars, well, focus is the name of the game for them as well, as they must find a way back into this, otherwise they will be 1 game down in this best of 3 set now.
And doesupz already having the 18th Street cauterize 3 is going to be really big. If he can find a way to get the spread on these frontliners to that cauterize, Ceres is going to have a hard time staying in position to heal, especially with how much pressure that this Cryptik side has pulled. The blue team looking for that left side pressure, especially for them, but it is the King Bomb coming out early and on the high ground. Evulli not able to find much though, as once again the impasse blocks off the majority of that CC.
Really good usage of it, however, hit by was Inara. Evulli trying to find the chip damage onto LAizy, but 3 players are here to shut them down. Dialer and Thiel pick up kills of their own on the objective. WarDoom is trying to sustain, but now is met with Inara, who does begin to contest, and WarDoom takes damage from above as LAizy continues to career around the objective and the battlefield, but Kusqt stays alive. WarDoom finds a frag. Out comes Dread Serpent. The damage is here. Dome Shield not even necessary. At last used now as well, just to stave off the follow-up from conversions. And that will be all that they need. 72% and climbing. Is there any way for Gankstars to get back in?
It's not looking good. WarDoom is set up and just take the school real quick. The fact that, look where he's positioning these turrets. He's got 1 passive that he can run to and 1 aggressively that's actually dismounting and doing most of the damage. That plus healing station is actually keeping WarDoom alive, and why he has a 17th streak. Again, that Konga's filing in, but it's just all Cryptik as iDropBodies finds 2. It is a 3-0 lead for Cryptik coming off the 5-minute break.
What a phenomenal performance from the North American squad right now. As you said, 24 streak for doesupz on Ruckus, only cauterize 3 available, but sitting in the tank are 750 and rising credits. That'll be a nice, maybe a rejuvenate pickup if necessary, maybe a haven, maybe even a blast shield as they go back to base later. And if they do fall on the payload push here, they'll be able to get that mid-round buy going faster than normal, with focus fire just onto the water field to take away that small source of slow and damage, and then immediately flicks their aim back towards the airborne targets. Team Cryptik do have to sustain for a minute, and they are being forced back by Gankstars, but how dangerous is it for Gankstars to pursue this momentum?
It's a tough spot in the map to pursue the momentum, just simply because they can be capitalized and just collapsed on very quickly by the explosive potential that iDropBodies can bring to those squishier targets. On the outside, Evulli does fall though, so a big pickup, and Gankstars will continue to be able to put the pressure on if they so choose to. You see, of course, the Ruckus being pushed out as well on this high ground, will be stunned out just barely is Kusqt able to get one onto Makoa, but still, this is a good position for LAizy and a good position for Thiel. They can get a lot of free damage and potential of pulling somebody up to this high ground, which is exactly what's happening, although not able to convert the kill. And taking a look at doesupz, what can he bring back to his team? As you can see, he's able to find another kill in the dialer, and now with all 5 players, well, pardon me, as Bomb King is just respawning now, they are able to find at least some kind of advantage on the front line.
But still, LAizy is here to answer back with a kill on the WarDoom off the back of Salvo, just capitalizing on the increased AoE of those shots, and with no fear continues to throw out fire spits as the rest of Team Cryptik retreat. 47 seconds left to go on this payload push, 3-0 at 8 minutes and 32 seconds in. Team Cryptik have the potential to end it all. It's 4-4 ultimates, Scout missing for Gankstars, Dome Shield at 81% for the squad of Team Cryptik. This could very easily go in. All Cryptik need is an opening pick onto somebody, anybody, that very well may be Makoa.
Yeah, Makoa falling very low, still has Ancient Rage, but actually is getting completely channeled up. The King Bomb does come out, but the impasse is beautifully placed by Inara, able to keep the rest of Cryptik away, and it actually sections off Evulli from the rest of his team, able to capitalize the kill as Bonkar. 10 seconds left as the countdown happens behind our voices, but still, what will be used here? Will they go for the 4-0? I don't think they have to, but if they see the opportunity, why not put the nail in the coffin?
They could potentially also force a lot of ultimates coming out from Thiel as well. Down goes the barricade. WarDoom looking for frags. Nice.
Wow.
Shoots around. Avoids.
There it is.
Avoids the dredge anchor. Ancient Rage comes out, immediately met with Dome Shield. Thiel tries to charge the backline to try and turn this around. Away charge the frontliners as LAizy does go in to find at least doesupz, but iDropBodies out his back. Double kill so far. Impasse is there to prevent the contest, but iDropBodies dives in, is shut down at last. But still, the front line is alive. The Barrack, the Maldamba. This could still go either way.
And this with the healing that's online for Kusqt, putting right into WarDoom, they are able to contest for a lot longer than you'd think. And now Ruckus is here, Evulli is here. The Poppy Bomb to throw one away, but it actually puts Makoa in a better spot to capitalize on Kusqt. The numbers now favoring Gankstars, and with that expiration time falling off that much quicker in overtime, it will be a #1 point for Gankstars. But I have to question, Fox, if using those ultimates for the side of Cryptik was really necessary.
It forced ultimates out of Gankstars, or in fact, it didn't. Ancient Rage was used without Dome Shield even being utilized. And what was interesting is that Dome Shield can act as a very effective counter towards Ancient Rage. It does deal a lot of health with the flamethrower turret inside that big bubble, but Thiel avoided the majority of that damage, effectively neutralizing it. So ultimate wasted for ultimate wasted. Gankstars hold on, but Team Cryptik exhaust too much in the process. They could have held something back in the tank, or they could have committed more, but they were indecisive in that moment, and maybe they need to be a little more so in the future.
Master Riding is coming up for Gankstars again, very much so down in the credit economy that is built up by getting those kills and capture points. They have yet to do any of that really much yet, and looking to get themselves a much needed second point as they're continuing to just spread themselves out. You can see Team Cryptik is content to take the church side of things on the left-hand perspectively from our view right now, and they're actually have an opportunity as it's Inara. Bonkar out by himself will get pulled away from the fight and completely taken down. 15% for Gankstars, but still the numbers are favoring Cryptik, but Dialer up here is in a really good spot to continue to poke.
Dodge rolls in, gets a bit of health restored from their onslaught. Dialer finds the double kill, looking towards Evulli. Bonus damage applied, double coming through, although double following the first one. Sort of delayed triple kill, I see. Continues the pressure towards the backline now, looking for where they saw Androx's fleet to, but must be careful of Ruckus, who does return to the fray.
And is putting himself in a position for a potential late flank as it's up to 74%. Stalling out Bonkar, once again falling low, has to use both the Warder's Field and the Impasse, so not a lot of cooldowns in favor of the Inara. If they're going to push, this will be the time to do so, and you can see it is going to be iDropBodies finding a kill on the outside. Is there going to be enough help? 2 kills before he falls. LAizy forced the ultimate into the Androxus. Still good value for iDropBodies finding the 2-for-1.
Up goes as we see doesupz here chasing down LAizy, and Evulli puts the final nail in the coffin there. Thiel will answer back, but quickly Team Cryptik have answered back towards Gankstars' capture percentage, now overtaken it, 75% to 74% stalled out. This game 5 is as close as it could get. Death awaits you all, says iDropBodies. They immediately eliminate Burden. That's a sustain away from Gankstars. This is very bad for the squad from Europe. Team Cryptik hold the advantage, but still the contest comes through. Bonkar about to fall, but LAizy is still alive. Fire Spit comes out, but Dome Shield blocks all of the damage on the objective. WarDoom holds things down. Is there any way for Gankstars to get back in? They just have a Drogas and a Saris. And Evulli with 2 says no. Saris contests in Shadow Travel, but how long will it last? Overtime is ticking, but shut down by Evulli for the 3rd in a row. That is Team Cryptik taking game number 5 and advancing 1 game up in this best of 3 set.
Really a dominating performance from WarDoom in specific, playing the Barrack. We haven't seen WarDoom getting himself going on the Barrack that often. Really, Barrack in general has not had a chance to really be that impactful, but that time through, having the really good turret placement, kept him on the point for a very long period of time, and I'm interested to see where his damage numbers sit, because again, those Dome Shield placements were huge.
Wasn't just the Dome Shield placements as well, but it was the turret placements, often grouped, as he said, 1 main for healing, 1 out to the peripheral to make sure that both couldn't be targeted at once. But as we saw the game go later and later, and iDropBodies on that drops was able to put and provide more and more pressure onto LAizy, we saw that the area damage wasn't something they worried about. Double turrets in the same place, very difficult, for example, a Makoa or a Nara contestant to deal with. And as we see there, WarDoom 7-4 and 28 assists. Objective time 251. Somebody get them off the point. 7 billion people, and at least one of them was on the objective this time, Rick.
I mean, this is good numbers, 88,500 damage, and again, the 4 deaths is really key. And again, you see that mimicked with his support from Kusqt. They're just so good at staying alive, and getting down Bird 7 different times is really key early on. Got them that 2-point lead that they needed, and you can see it. It's just good numbers across the board. The Architectonics becoming the prevalent pickup for a lot of the legendary choices for Barrack players, and WarDoom just as much aware of the advantages that brings to the damage stat, particularly. I can't get over this music in the background.
It's just absolutely perfect. It's so groovy, man. I'm ready for it. WarDoom's play was groovy as well. You know that guy plays a mouse pad the size of what looks like a postcard?
I couldn't do it.
It's mouse acceleration, man.
I could do it.
I mean, you go with what you know, right? What you're used to. But
yeah.
I'm certainly not used to that.
No way. I mean, and that's the thing too. WarDoom has such a unique play style, and he has just to mimic that a very unique setup as well.
Yeah.
But regardless of that fact, Cryptik, this is the best I think they've ever really looked. And again, it comes down to the fact that they're able to continually pressure out the support. If they could continue to do that, I don't see the results changing. The key becomes, if you're Gankstars, do you eventually just say, all right, let's take away the Maldamba and see how Cryptik responds to that? Because they have yet to do that.
Yes.
They need to, I feel like.
They absolutely have to at this point. As we go forwards, that was game 5 in the best of 7 semifinals. Game number 6 will be played and has been chosen by Gankstars to be Frozen Guard. This is a Gankstars map. They performed very well within at least the European region on this map so far. It does open up a lot of very interesting picks as well. Maybe Kinessa, as we have seen previously, but with the caliber of Eevee that doesupz brought to the table earlier, I think that anything is risky here for Gankstars.
I'm also interested to see, because as we were sitting and talking about does Gankstars take away Maldamba, this is another opportunity where Cryptik could pull out something fishy if they don't get the Maldamba of going their healer Pip, or possibly going to the Church of Grover.
Church of Grover, indeed. Bless up and bow down. Long line of sight allows for double impact plays from maybe a Shaolin, maybe a Kinessa, maybe a Grover. That Impaler arrow from Shaolin, if confirming a stun, then confirms the deep roots from Grover, which guarantees follow-up unless resilience is prioritized. And if you prioritize resilience, you're not getting any form of damage reduction, which is important since those axes swing at distance and those arrows hit for 1,000. When you're also getting your offensive items online as well, which leaves you at a cauterize or wrecker deficit.
Right.
It forces a dangerous split, but then again, with that damage, you are giving up some of your healing potential. We're not going to see that 150. I mean, if Kusqt pulls out 150,000 healing in like a 15-minute game as Grover, then
I quit.
Yeah. I'll eat the windshield off the mic. I don't know, something, not the hat, but I don't know, worship God. He's the new leader of the Church of God. He is Grover at that point.
Yeah, without a doubt.
He's blossoming.
It'll be very interesting to see where this draft ends up taking us. But again, if you're Gankstars, there's a lot of question marks that I think you have to find a response to. And to be completely candid, I mean, shout outs to Tyler. He has not been a question mark. He's been confirmed. He's been playing a very good game.
Consistency.
Yeah, him and LAizy both. Really, this game, and again, we said off mic a couple different times, what is it that, when Gankstars starts to lose, why do they lose? And it's hard to pinpoint one thing in particular. It just right now is coming down to the sheer fact that Kusqt is able to keep his front lines alive longer than Bird is, and it very well could just be the fact that he's just doing better on Damba than Bird is on Seris. Maybe by the base of the character, maybe I don't know. Maybe because Kusqt is just a better player. I hesitate to say it.
It's tricky, and it's certainly something which is actually exacerbated by Kusqt. I had a little look at their loadouts up on stage, just going and saying, hey, give me some Damba info. I'm a terrible support. I play flank Damba, and I think that says you as much as it should do. But one specific card, and I'm awfully sorry, I have forgotten the name of it. You should help me out here, Shift. It is Mending Spirits applies damage reduction to Maldamba.
Oh, it's the ritual.
Exactly.
Thing.
Yes, that one. That one, folks. You'll find it under Kusqt's loadouts if you look to import them at home. But either way, 24% damage reduction on a successful Mending Spirits onto an ally on Maldamba makes that 2450 health pool comparatively that much more tanky. Maldamba isn't just keeping their team alive, they're surviving, and they're able to turn fights around because it's shot, heal, stun, continue the brawl, and that's very important, min-maxing wherever possible.
And you said exactly the thing, the fact that Kusqt is hitting a lot of these clutch mini stuns, which is getting him small advantages, either in 1v1s or just generally for his team, helping those, again, frontliners win those isolated trench wars that we see. So I think when you're looking at this from Gankstars' point of view, you gotta find a way to get yourself back in the groove and get Cryptik off of this hot streak that they've been on. I mean, all of these games have been relatively close with the exception of the first one with that first 4-0. Everything has been relatively close, 3-4, 3-4, and now 4-1 for Cryptik. These last three games have been favoring really the playstyle of Cryptik in general.
Well, as we are ready for the champion draft, and you mentioned Cryptik on a hot streak, I do get a bit hot under the collar and wonder if we'll see some WarDoom Fernando, potentially. It could be interesting, but unlikely with the success they've exhibited on Inara so far. Here on Frozen Guard, once again, Ruckus, the premier pick in the Paladins Summer Premiere. Makoa, again, taken by Gankstars, as well as Barak this time. They want reliable frontline. They're giving away Drogos or Bomb King for free, and a Maldamba.
Yeah, Barak this early is interesting to me. It's simply because I don't think they have to take the Barak here. He's played 10 of the 16 games yesterday, but only holds a 4-6. And actually, Cryptik is doing a very good job of concealing what they want to do, saying, all right, well, fine, we'll mimic up your double frontliner, but we'll add our priority healer in the Maldamba. So Inara and Maldamba once again coming out. And again, from Gankstars, you're essentially saying, well, now we have to take our two damage dealers.
Exactly.
Or you take your Seris here maybe to conceal your last one, but it's interesting to see, you're not really holding on to much as far as any kind of surprise factor. Seris, Bomb King. I do like the Bomb King pick here.
You convey that you're going, by picking Seris now, they convey that they're going for surprise factor by holding back their last pick, rather than drafting their damage dealers as a priority at this point. Cryptik, therefore, is presented with the opportunity. Do they just draft straight damage, or do they potentially go for something which could be used as a counter to maybe the wildcard Kinessa, maybe even the Grover, which, for all intents and purposes, we may still see even Gankstars run. Cassie, certainly something which isn't unusual to be seen on this map, especially not by Team Cryptik. doesupz had a huge amount of success on it yesterday, as well as an Eevee last pick. This is the protection that was allowed by this drafting order. If Gankstars now draft a Kinessa, which they do, they're going to be contesting with one of maybe the better Eevee players in the world. But Cryptik, they've got Cassie, Eevee, and Ruckus, all doesupz champions. Who's playing who?
This is a very bold Kinessa pick, simply because you only have Seris. If Kinessa gets caught while Restore Soul is on cooldown, she's going to have a very tough time surviving. No one else can really get back to her except for the Bomb King, but that says that your damage dealer has to play passively now. And this is just an all-aggressive front that I think Cryptik wants, and this is looking good for the side from North America. They get to play their aggressive nature essentially for free. They don't have to worry about a lot as far as being counter-aggressed on, simply because the Bomb King's not going to do it. The Kinessa has to sit back. Makoa and Barak are stationary. Seris can't commit to being out in the open. This is looking good for the dynamic that Cryptik likes to play. The question again becomes, if Gankstars can start to win the point, it will throw that aggression kind of tilted off to the side, and they need to find a way to rein it back in if Cryptik starts to lose the capture point.
Absolutely the case as well. The one saving grace for Gankstars is that just during a little bit of practice earlier as well, did happen to, across Bonkar and Bird taking a 1v1 with Eevee versus Kinessa, with Bonkar on Kinessa and Bird, one of the best Eevees in the world, trying to train them in how to deal with the mobile menace that is the Winter Witch. And So there may be something up their sleeve. This might be something which they expected and anticipated and were still having to practice into. On the icy wasteland, the depths, the igloo of frozen guard on your screen right now as we prepare ourselves for the 6th game in this set. We are ready to see if potentially North American can take it all, or if one final game will be the destination for this set to be decided.
You see Kusqt right before the game started said one more. That's all we need. And that would mark a very pivotal spot in Paladins' history with North America finally being able to take out EU, but there is still the tall task in front of them. You can see just off to the side, barricading himself set up, and Nara saying, well, none of that. I'm going to push right into your turret, block you off for the point, and now Eevee's on a hunting mission, trying to find this Kinessa, but LAizy's doing a really good job of coming back and helping out as much as possible, but still Team Cryptik up above 54%, even though Thiel does find first blood on iDropBodies.
Big pull onto iDropBodies, shutting the Cassie down around the outside of the map is very important. Kinessa hasn't been found yet by Eevee. She turns her sights towards Ruckus, gets a bit of chip poked off. WarDoom able to pick up Thiel, but Bonkar gets doesupz, taking down their flanker companion. And as a result, we will see the objective opened up potentially for Gankstars to capitalize on, but Inara is too tanky to deal with. Already back again on the respawn is Cassie, who's putting the pressure on and lands the distance shot.
That's absolutely clutch for iDropBodies, who, again, you mentioned who's going to play what. iDropBodies has shown that he can frag not just on Androxus, but also with this Cassie finds 2 kills, and now Makoa's in a lot of trouble as WarDoom comes around from the flank, able to find the kill, and no one's going to be able to get back to this point while the overtime's going away. Rocket Fruits, in the fashion of retreat, isn't even enough to get him away from Evulli, and the double miniguns that Ruckus brings to the table. A very quick point on the board, just a little bit over 2 minutes on the clock expired.
You know, this just screams to me, how do we say this, lack of target prioritization from Gankstars from that previous point fight. They immediately try to contest versus Inara when Cauterize is only at level 1. She's just going to be happy to sit there on a gourd, sustain through everything you throw at her. Take the peripheral. Gankstars pioneered the playstyle of clear the area first and then focus on the objective. They didn't do that. They left their Kinessa out to dry. They left the team split up and they were dismantled at the seams. WarDoom narrowly avoids in passing Thiel into danger, but does have Seismic Crash available here. Activates that Earthen Guard, stays alive momentarily, but should, for all intents and purposes, fall.
Yeah, but that is an opportunity for doesupz to come back through. You see the Ice Storm has been triggered. Headhunter also proc, finding a lot of damage, able to convert onto 2 different targets. The repulsor field mitigating a lot of damage, but just not enough as Dialer from below is able to get that blunderbuss tuned up to the high ground to find Evulli, who does drop on the Ruckus. iDropBodies and Kusqt and gang have to fall back towards their side of this underpass, and this is the pivotal choke point that with the Kinessa, you have to be able to find a way to convert this. It is going to be a very aggressive ping bomb, though, from LAizy, and absolutely nothing found, nothing even in his sights. That's an interesting choice.
I'm going to call fat finger on that one. We'll have to talk to LAizy a little bit later about that, as that is a LAizy ult that we've all been waiting for, but here's a bit of a better combo. It's Seismic Crash straight into the Hexafire from Ruckus as well. LAizy able to get to the high ground, is retreating to help maybe keep that Kinessa safe, or maybe just stay alive. One frontliner up currently from Gankstars. Barrack redistributes their turrets to try and hold down the payload about to approach their base. What is Team Cryptik holding on to that they could use to push this payload through?
And they need to be able to find a way to get this Dread Serpent to impact multiple players. It's not going to happen here, though, as they do drop 2 players, does Gankstars. They have a lot of ultimates as well. Headhunter, again, very close to being ready, 90%, and still barely ticking up as that passive little buff starts to maneuver through. You can see Inara still mounted up and looking to move all the way through. Network chart, as you would anticipate, Cryptik does have the advantage, but still these kill streaks that are online for Gankstars will help them narrow that gap more and more.
The problem that I'm seeing there as well with net worth is that Sarah's currently at the bottom of this track, is not having the catch they need to, relying very heavily on getting some objective time to stack those credits up, and just isn't allowed the luxury right now. Will be behind comparatively to Kusqt. Nice snake toss to the high ground, puts a stun in the face of LAizy. Red Serpent's his own, but will it last for long enough? Can anybody get back to contest? Thiel was hit in Ancient Rage as well. Insult to injury, salt in the wound of the aquatic turtle. My goodness, Team Cryptik, is this it?
This, I mean, it's a little early to call, but the 2-0 lead is very big for them. And again, this Kinessa pick is just, it was such a risky pull for Gankstars to try to do this in the face of an Eevee Cassie, when you were essentially saying, all right, Saris, you have to come out of hiding, you have to stay with me. You saw an instance of that where doesupz was able to go, oh, your Saris is right here, I'll just go ahead and change over to the Saris. That's a more important pick in the scheme of things for my team than just the Kinessa, and it actually led to getting both of them killed. So good plays overall and good decision-making from doesupz on this Eevee, and this is, Gankstars has to really fight back. They're down on itemization. You can see exactly how that's starting to stack up, although offensive itemizations of Cauterize is the only red item available. All of them are at level 2. But the thing is, there are a handful of Chronoses getting online for Cryptik.
What's going to be really important here is, again, a difference in focus this time around from Gankstars. Immediate Dredge Jacket comes through, but is actually blocked by an impasse, so really good reactive play from WarDoom. And now LAizy could be caught out to one side. Bomb King is isolated alone and shut down by iDropBodies. Bonkar tries to find shots, but is only looking towards Inara here, and that's on the target that she really wants to focus towards. Looks for the Eevee, who was pulled into danger, shut down by Thiel, providing the opportunity for Gankstars to come through with a recap, but it's already 75% for Team Cryptik.
And that's just forcing Gankstars to commit. The Impasse did a really good job of blocking off line of sight from both Ceres and as well as Knessa. Kills still coming on in the front line. This has been Cryptik winning the battle in the trenches. Now LAizy finally coming forward and getting the damage on Bird. Actually has the goodness as well. Bonkar capitalizing on Evulli, and finally Gankstars are getting some kills, but still, as soon as they do that, it's Bonkar who's left available, and doesupz is playing so smart, is able to get the pick, come back, get the Ice Storm, and now his team is back and ready to contest this. They're at 96%, 99%. Overtime is in effect, but numbers are now favoring Cryptik.
On the objective as well, as the Grumpy Bomb sets up a stun towards him. King Bomb Channel finds the shutdown on the Cassie. LAizy barely staying alive, but will it be enough? Barrett tries to sustain, but out comes Dread Serpent, and with that, Team Cryptik capture the second objective in a row. 3-0 at 6 minutes and 43 seconds in. The tables have been turned on Europe. North America has come to play.
This is the best I've ever seen Cryptik play. They're doing such a good job of maneuvering around the map, knowing exactly where their advantages are. If they're going to commit to point, go find the Knessa. If they're going to go help the Knessa, go to point. They're playing so well, very similar to how QG was using their flankers yesterday. This is a full team effort for Cryptik, and they are absolutely dominating the big favor in Gankstars right now.
They are indeed, and as iDropBodies continues on Cassie, missing a few long-range shots, but at least with their presence providing some zone, we see the payload advance through unmitigated once again. This area, these little caverns, this underpass, which it is stalled in briefly through lack of contest, is primarily where we see the first defense established by many teams, but Gankstars, they're unable to. They're too far back. They're relying on the Knessa to deal damage from the high ground, and they want to hold close to their base as a result. But now Bonkar drops down, potentially in a lot of danger here, looking for the flick shot onto Cassie if they find them around the corner, but turns their attention to Inara instead and transporters back to safety, but is still on the low ground here and very vulnerable if Eevee comes.
A lot of time on the clock to maneuver on this map. Those Cryptik have their favorite Ancient Rage forced out. Everyone's just going to run away from that next. Evulli is going to see an opportunity to move forward with the Ancient Rage. Not being there in front of it, Hexafire coming out. It will completely mitigate LAizy, not able to get the ultimate off, and a stun as well onto the side of the Nakoa. Kills coming out for Cryptik as they find 3. Can they find the 4th? Things are going well for North America, but Tyler's still alive. Can they keep the Ceres? The Convergence also coming out, but Cryptik has the numbers, and the Ice Storm might just do it. Cryptik win 4-0.
Look at those faces on screen. Right now from Team Cryptik, Kusqt, at last, feeling like he's proven his worth. You know, every time talking to this guy out to land, time and time again now, there's been looks of disappointment. I could have done better. Well, at last, I think he's done about as good as he needed to. Advancing forwards into the finals, Team Cryptik do become your first qualified finalist for the Paladins Summer Premiere at Dreamhack Valencia of 2017. Going through and just demonstrating at least good sportsmanship with Gankstars here. My goodness, what a set we just saw between these two amazing squads.
As there should be, no love lost between these two teams. This is just an absolutely incredible matchup. Gankstars played lights out throughout a lot of this match. Of course, starting off very strong with that 4-0 on Serpent Beach. Just not able to keep things together. They tried to do something very risky at the end. You can see Bonkar finds himself 65,000 damage, only the 4 deaths, but the fact of the matter was the game didn't last long enough for him to have a big impact. You see, again, not a lot of damage numbers on the side for the blue team of Cryptik, but still didn't really make a difference because, again, objective time is key.
And exactly, and look at that from Evulli this time as well, topping the charts there, and Kusqt, but WarDoom and Nara following on very shortly behind. And we talk about that 65,000 from Bonkar, talk about the 114,000 from Kusqt healing. That's 45k for Bird, 114,000 for Kusqt. That's not just prioritization onto the Ceres, that's the fact that so much of the chip poke put out by Bonkar was actually forced onto WarDoom, very rapidly healed back up again. Just ineffective damage, so much in terms of numbers, but how much did it matter? Not enough.
I mean, all of that damage that we're talking about that comes out for the side of Gankstars is almost completely mimicked by the healing that we're getting out of Kusqt in almost every single game. It's incredible. It's not just a miraculous performance here and there. He's having the tournament of his life, playing completely completely out of his mind on specifically the Damba, but if he's forced to play any other support, he's got the availability to do it, and that's going to be really interesting, as I think we have the man himself on stage ready for an interview. Let's take a look to see what Team Cryptik has to say after that win.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm standing here with Kusqt Jenkins of Team Cryptik, who has just upset the Gankstars. I gotta say, yeah, you came in as an underdog here, as the 4th seed. What do you have to say? What changed that allowed you guys to finally defeat one of the European powerhouses?
I think the biggest thing for me personally, I don't know about the team, I used to feel like I had a lot of pressure to perform. And this LAN, it's like, I'm the underdog.
I have to say, doesupz performing well. Your whole team really starting to come together. This almost went the distance. And one big question you now have, either Kanga Esports or QG Craze that you're going to be facing. Who do you want to see in the finals most?
Kanga Esports.
He's coming for them, guys. He wants to prove that NA #1 seed has what it takes, guys. Congratulations. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the finals tomorrow, guys. That's going to do it for us right now. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back with the other semifinal, QG Craze versus Kanga Esports.